what's his name. They said it's easy to see you way over me, but baby, two can play this game. It's alright, do your thing, I'll do mine. Trust me when I say I'm just fine. I'm gonna be giving out my number, getting wild, hanging out under the party lights until they shut it down, down, down. Gonna kiss the girl, she lets me, gonna show her out my Chevy. Hope you hear about it all over this town, town, town. I ain't never cried a tear in my beer in my whole life, and I ain't starting tonight. Ain't gonna be staying home, ain't gonna be all alone, ain't gonna be drinking, thinking about you. It's alright, do your thing, I'll do mine. Trust me when I say I'm just fine, girl. I'm gonna be giving out my number, getting wild, hanging out under the party lights until they shut it down, down, down. Gonna kiss the girl, she lets me, gonna show her out my Chevy. Hope you hear about it all over this town, town, town. I ain't never cried a tear in my beer in my whole life, and I ain't starting tonight. It's alright, do your thing, I'll do mine. Trust me when I say I'm just fine. I'm gonna be giving out my number, getting wild, hanging out under the party lights until they shut it down, down, down. Gonna kiss the girl, she lets me, gonna show her out my Chevy. Hope you hear about it all over this town, town, town. I ain't never cried a tear in my beer in my whole life, and I ain't starting tonight. Ever see a lady with a sick baby staying at home from work on a staying up all nighter? That ain't just a mama's son, that's a fighter. Ever see an old man with a lunch pail, 5 o'clock whistle blowing, and he's going home tired as hell? That ain't just an old man's son, yeah, that's a fighter. This is for the blue-collar, 80-hour weekers, sweat-stained heartland, haggard on the speakers, picking ourselves up out of the hot August dust. In God we trust. Cold beer in the left hand, right one holding up a lighter. This one's for you, yeah, this one's for the fighters. Ever seen an 18-wheeler cross country, CB talking, black asphalt and cold rolling, keeping it going, driving it like it's stolen, trying to get home, only midnight rider? That ain't just a trucker's son, that's a fighter. Talking about the farmers, old catters, ranchers, ballet dancers, scientists looking for the answers, strong coffee waiting for the golden sunrisers, broken hearted, giving it one more try. You ain't just survivor. This is for the blue collar, 80-hour weekers, sweat-stained heartland, haggard on the speakers, picking ourselves up out of hot August dust. In God we trust. Cold beer in the left hand, Friday night
ASL.
Looks like we got a full house tonight. Welcome to the ASL. I'm Tasteless, joined with Wolf for another day of the original old school Brood War. We got the best of the best. It should be a fantastic night.
Absolutely. As you guys can see, as Tasteless just mentioned, the studio is packed. I don't think we could fit any more people in here without starting the fire department coming to try to shut this down. We have amazing legends playing tonight. Flash, who is the most prolific StarCraft player of all time in both, of course, StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2. I think in the foreign scene, he is the most famous and someone that you should definitely check out.
I would say overall, out of StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2, yeah, Flash is the most influential. He didn't have the kind of success that we saw in StarCraft 1, but StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 are two very different beasts. He definitely had a lot of recognition. He did get deep in a lot of tournaments, beat some great players.
Yeah,
but
he definitely did.
He decided to move back to Brood War, where he was the most dominant. I can't say I really blame him. And we got a lot of people down here to watch him today. We're going to have 4 best of ones tonight, just like we've had every ASL night. 1 game from each group.
Yep. And this is the last day of the group stage. So after this, we'll actually have the entire round of 8 settled and who will be playing against whom and what matchup we'll be seeing in the future. So this has kind of been the culmination of groups that have happened for an entire month because that's how we do Brood War tournaments. We have 1 match from each group every night. So the group happens over a month. So that storyline for each group is followed every single night, 1 piece of it, and the final piece of the puzzle will be settled tonight. Who is getting out, who's moving on.
If you're unfamiliar with us, you may know us from the GSL. This is the sister tournament to the GSL, or you may be watching this for the first time because you're a Brood War person. If you are enjoying what you're seeing here, definitely check out the StarCraft 2 tournament we host down here. We're doing all the StarCraft down here at AfreecaTV.
That's right, and anyone can come down. We have foreigners coming in here all the time. It's totally free. You don't need a ticket or anything, but
we got headsets so you can hear it in English.
And definitely on nights like tonight, you want to come down about 30 minutes early, or you're going to be out of luck because we're still seeing people pour in here right now.
Occasionally, we've almost filled up the capacity of the studio. If it does fill up all the way, it'll extend up into the hall, just a little bit behind this camera, and then we have a TV out there in the lobby, so you can kind of watch it live, or at least be close enough to the live action and still see the game. So. Definitely stay tuned with us here at the ASL. We're going to have this go all the way to the finals. We're going to declare the current best player in StarCraft 1, StarCraft Brood War, in the year 2016, nearly, actually, I guess, over 18 years after this game has been out.
Yeah, it's been a long, long game, and the patching happened a lot more in the past, but now we're kind of figured out the meta is
I don't think we've
shifting.
had this patched in, like, 14 years or something like that.
Yeah, there was like a patch to fix the water or something, but no balance patches.
No balance patches. Yeah, no. There's been some graphical patches they've released now, but the game is still very popular, especially here in Korea, also in parts of Eastern Europe, and played occasionally in the shadows of the internet. But down here, easily the very best players there are.
Yeah. Let's take a look at today's match, the final day in the round of 16.
Talking like Shakespeare here, man, or Yoda or something.
This is a great set of matches we have today. We have a lot of Protoss play tonight, which is pretty rare. We have a PvP and a PvT, but also we get to see Flash versus Mine, 2 great Terran players who've been playing Brood War for a long time, 2 dominant players at the end of the 2000s there, around what I like to call the postmodern Brood War era. They're going to face off against each other. So we can see who's already advanced here. Sock is out, C has advanced, Last, and Hero. We still have a few more players to be decided.
So, as time passes, we are going to have the final 8 players lined up, in which case we'll be going into the bracketed format of the tournament. By the way, this tournament is on every Sunday and Tuesday at 7 p.m. Korean Standard Time, and we also have the GSL, which is a StarCraft 2 tournament, which is Wednesday and Friday. So you got 4 nights out of the week you can join us. And, of course, over at SPO TV, the rest of the StarCraft action is headed by Wolf.
Yep, that's right. We have it over there Thursdays for StarLeague. Pro League's getting into grand postseason. I don't think that schedule has been announced yet, but that's going to be happening very soon. So we're going to be having StarCraft all the time here in Korea, almost every night. So if you haven't marked your calendars yet, pretty much just stay up late and turn on your Twitch channel, and you'll be able to find us. So be sure to tune in. Be sure to check this out. But also tell your friends, especially about ASL, because I know a lot of you watching have been following Brood War for forever. You used to stay up all night in the early 2000s watching the Korean players before we even had English commentary, before you came here. Tasteless to cast this game. And now we have this in 2016 in higher quality. We have an awesome production value, really great English casting here. So do tell your friends about this channel because it also links to StarCraft 2. And it's the same channel, so you can build both and help grow the community of people who don't know about StarCraft.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because we've got this like really old game, but we're only just now doing tournaments again. This game's popularity dipped at, when StarCraft 2 came out, and now you know, the popularity is rising again. It's both StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 great games, quite different from each other. So if you've only been following StarCraft 2, we're going to make sure that you will be able to enjoy and understand a Brood War match. We're trying not to get too caught up in terminology.
No jargon, too much jargon. But
too much jargon. So we're going to be doing a lot of explaining. If you're a diehard Brood War guy, bear with us. We're doing this so that we can grow this scene and educate people
and
about
help
it.
grow it with us. Tell your friends about this. You know, if you got someone watching with you, you brought a friend over to your house, he doesn't really know why that Reaver shot happened like that. You know, explain it to them with us. Teach people about this game because I want to grow these games together, not independent of each other.
No,
but I want them to help each other out.
I would prefer if we could avoid the tribalism of a lot of gaming Reddits where they're constantly weighing and comparing, and instead just appreciate that StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 are the two best RTS games by far. And we have the very best tournaments of them here at AfreecaTV. So let's introduce our players. This guy has been really on fire lately. Eyewater, more commonly known by the ID Shuttle. He managed to beat Effort in a pretty nail-biter of a game, pretty nail-biting game there. That was actually the first day of the ASL. He's playing magnificently, and I think he's a pretty tough opponent to beat. He might be the best Protoss out there right now.
Yeah. He did try to do some aggressive timings versus Sock, which ended up kind of working against him in the last time I cast him with you just last week. So he is 1-1 and needs this win to advance out of the group. It's a very important match for him, but he's going to be playing a Protoss versus Protoss tonight.
Yeah, PvP. Now, I don't believe we've casted this matchup here at the ASL.
I don't think so.
Oddly, we've somehow avoided this matchup, but we're going to be doing it tonight. PvP, pretty interesting. It's definitely sorted itself out, so the stuff that I'm used to seeing in PvP should be quite applicable here now. We'll have to see how much the players do rely on aggression timings. PvP is very unforgiving as far as aggression timings go. His opponent, Free, definitely amongst the old school players here in StarCraft 1.
Also, the big fan favorite in this matchup, and we heard a huge cheer behind us when his camera shot came up. He's actually gotten the opposite results here. He defeated Sock, but lost to Effort. So it's kind of funny how the group goes back into somewhat of a circle here. And this is where the loop will be closed tonight. The winner of this will advance to the round of 8. So this is so important for both players, and it's a Protoss versus Protoss, their first one of the tournament. They both played against a Zerg, they both played against a Terran, but now they're going to play their first PvP.
Now, I got to say, I actually, I think the most important part of this match is going to be the first, I would say, 5 to 8 minutes, because there's a lot of really abusive stuff you can do to your opponent early on. I'd say more so than even StarCraft 2 PvP. StarCraft 2 PvP is a lot more about very different build orders and openings. It's a lot more about pure control and occasionally disguising a build. You're either going to go for an expand here off of some Dragoons, maybe some pressure along with that. You're going to go for some kind of Reaver play, or you're going to go for Dark Templars. Now, if you're very experienced with Brood War, you know it's a little bit more technical than that, but if I had to boil it down to those core 3 things, that's what it's going to be. Now, Reaver play, very popular in Korea.
And Reaver control as well is one of the most important things.
Yeah.
Can you get the right shots off with your Scarabs, and also can you make sure that the Reavers dodge Dragoon shots into the shuttle, and make sure that when the shuttle is being focused, your Reavers are on the ground, when your Reavers being focused, your Reavers go back into the shuttle. I mean, it sounds crazy and silly, and in StarCraft 2, we don't have anything quite like this. Like, microing an Immortal into the Prism is somewhat similar, but the Reaver is so much more of an important unit, too. And it's so much more expensive.
This is a fun matchup because a lot of times it's a battle of these super powerful sluggish units that are very unforgiving with their control. I'd say the Dragoon and the Reaver, 2 of the most unforgiving units as far as controlling goes. So sometimes this entire matchup is decided in a matter of a second. We are going to start this. This is game 1 in tonight's ASL. Shuttle versus Free.
김윤중, 윤용태, ASL 시즌 1 16강.
Okay, starting us down here. Let's actually see what this is. That shuttle. So shuttle down here at the south in the blue. Over here in the north, in the yellow, it is Free.
And we're playing on Tech Bay Mountain again.
So this map, especially in PvP, there's a lot of ways you can play it. Now, I'm just going to briefly put this out here. There's a technique that you might not be that familiar with that you can use in StarCraft 1 that you can't really use to the same degree of efficiency in StarCraft 2. It's called, a lot of times it's referred to as the Manor Pylon, but you build a pylon in their mineral patches to lock out a mineral patch, occasionally lock in a probe inside that, and that can be a huge disturbance. Now, will they do that this time? We'll see. Sometimes at the highest play, we don't see it at all, even in like a best of 5. Other times we'll see it every single time. They're also both on low ground. Now, in PvP, if you don't have a high ground position to defend from, you can get rushed pretty hard. So there's always a bit of a gamble if you tech too fast. So we may see them play a little bit more of a gradual game and not try to rush up. We do see also Shuttle going with the first scout.
Yeah, the scouting is, of course, really important to find out what your opponent's up to. This is one of those funny maps we've seen a few times. We saw a TVT on this map and a PVT recently where there's a lot of space towards the right side of the map, but the distance by air is very quick, so we've seen a lot of shuttle play used for harassment, something that may come into play here later on.
I think this map is actually made for the most interesting games, and I really want to see more maps that are like this also in StarCraft 2, and I think StarCraft 2 is getting there. But it's okay to step outside your comfort zone, as you know, because you end up with these strategies or these units that are being used that you just wouldn't normally see.
So we're seeing, just in general, by the way, most fans in the crowd are Free fans, with some exceptions, but he is by far the fan favorite. Something that is really important, I think, to showcase. In Brood War, when you have crowns like this, everyone comes to cheer for their favorite, and oftentimes people came to watch one player. So for the fans here, this is really important. This is kind of how Brood War grew, is this fan culture of people coming down to every match where their favorite player is playing. I know we have this in StarCraft 2, we have in League of Legends, other esports in Korea as well, but this is the first game where this happened. And it's an important culture and something to highlight if you never watched StarCraft before.
So you can see that our observer here is keeping an eye on Free's probe. Now, what he's doing right now is he was mining from the minerals, and then he cancels that, and he mines again. It takes a couple seconds to actually get the mineral, and while you're mining from that patch in the back, they can't mine from it. So, and we're also, of course, watching to see, is he going to plant a pylon over here? It doesn't look like either player is going to do that, and these guys both, understandably so, went for a pretty middle-of-the-road opener. They each got one Zealot. There might be a second one on the way here as well. We don't know yet. But they each get one Zealot because that at least gives you some defense. It looks like Dragoon range is being upgraded. We know that because of the animation at the Cybernetics core. So,
yeah, he's definitely not getting +1 attack for air, Day6.
Yeah. Well, you know what's actually really funny is sometimes they actually cancel that, and if they're planning on canceling no matter what, they get the +1 air attack because it's a little bit cheaper because you lose some money when you cancel it.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's like 99% chance. It's yeah, he's getting to gain range. So he's going to try to catch up to this probe. Now, it's a lot harder to catch the probe in Brood War, and you can see already it's almost out of range. There it is. So he's going to have a few more seconds to buy time.
I just want to confirm the Cybernetics core one more time if it was still researching. And he also sees the second gateway, I believe. Might have just been out of his vision.
So a lot of times they'll get the tech a little bit later here just to be absolutely certain that they don't know. And we see the Citadel of Adun. So
likely
this is,
DTs, right?
Yep. Very, very likely. Pretty much guaranteed, I'd say, at this level of play. Now, the more common route is to get a robotics facility. And that's because you can get observers and reavers if you want, or you can expand with that and just deflect DTs. So we want to see now, does Free get a robotics facility?
Yeah, because also keep in mind, in this game, in this version of StarCraft 2, in Brood War, you can't just make a robot and make an observer very quickly. You can't chrono that. There's no panic mode where you see the DTs coming, you try to force field the ramp. You have to build an observatory before you can even make an observer. There's no chrono boost, and it's going to take a long time, so you can't just really react to that as soon as you see a DT coming across the map. Here's the Temple Archive. This confirms it.
So what he wants to do is get these DTs out quickly. Now, okay, there it is. There's a robotics facility, so he should be okay with this coming at him. Now, from here, we have to see, is Free going to... It's Shuttle who's getting DTs, right? Yeah, it's Shuttle who's getting DTs. Now, Free might try to put some pressure on here. This could be a little bit effective because there is no he's having to save some money to get his own Dark Templars. So he might be able to put some pressure on here, but he definitely has to get back. When you go for DT, the most normal route, and there's some variations to how people do this, the most normal route of play is to try and get a Nexus with this. So you have a little bit of a balancing act as Protoss here. Now, Free's going to try to put some pressure on here right away and come down now and try to do some damage. The pylon over in the front is to try to absorb some attacks.
Ooh, that Dragoon couldn't micro back. He got stuck tasteless. That's a big problem, and that's going to make this pressure kind of, it's over. I mean, he can't really do this anymore.
He needs to back up completely. There's also the possibility that Shuttle goes for a pressure attack after the DTs. And that, I think, is one of the stronger builds. It's not as commonly used.
No, Observatory. He's going into Reavers instead.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
He might just simply be blind countered here by these DTs.
I got to get another shot over here of Shuttle's base. Okay, so he has the 2 DTs. There's no Nexus yet. We'll see if he makes that. Sometimes they get Dragoon range and actually just do the pressure build into that.
No Observatory, as far as I can tell, Tasteless.
Yeah,
I don't think
unless
he's
we're
making
missing it. I don't see it.
So he's not going to have any protection.
What is that up there? Oh.
That is just
That's a pylon?
I think it's just a pylon, yeah. It was clicked on earlier. I'm pretty sure I would have noticed.
Notice the movement. See how the DTs are going to the right here?
He wants to keep it hidden.
He wants, in case there's an observer headed southbound, he wants it to go around the observer. But
it's just a pylon. He's
basically just going to lose. Now, what's funny is because Shuttle is playing like really cautiously, this does give him extra time to try to get defense here.
Oh, there's the Observatory. Okay, can he buy time somehow? It's going to be pretty tough here.
Now, this is a tough call for Shuttle. Does he go directly for the probes? He sees that there's no observer here. He's scrambling. Does he go for the Robo? Now, the Robo, if he went for it, could be an auto win.
He can unpower it as well. There's another pylon coming down for safety. He's going to go for units here instead, though.
So he wants to try to block the DTs with the Dragoons here. This is a lot harder than it looks. He's trying to get them so that they can't move around. And he's trying to just shut off circulation. Now, he's making an observer. And I got to say, actually,
DTs do so much damage in this game as well. Look at how quickly these Dragoons are going to start to die.
So they are getting shredded down here. And he might lose too many Dragoons in
then
this
the follow-up pressure might come like you're talking about. So I think that may just simply be what happens here. Good blocks so far.
So you can use the workers here and tell them to mine different patches and then make them stop. And they end up actually glitching out the DTs so they can't attack. So he kills that. He's headed back over here.
He's going to try to have to use this Reaver to defend. It's going to be so difficult to do. The first Reaver should be coming out after this Observer, right? I mean, he canceled, it looks like, to get the Observer out.
I almost wonder if he's going to have to try to just push behind this. So Shuttle gets his expansion up here, and he's going to be getting a lot more gates along with this. Now, it would be unwise, as we could see here, for Shuttle to try to attack in that. That's like a big funnel that those units would have to get through, and especially in Brood War, it's a lot harder to control your army through that
especially with Dragoons specifically.
So he's going to go for somewhat of a counter all-in. A Reaver should pop out here.
Yeah.
You want to be really careful and monitor the movement of the Shuttle and the Reaver, because if he loses this, he's going to lose the game. He may also go for a drop in the main, but I think there's a degree of predictability with that.
Yeah, see, the Dragoons are already getting into position because they know about this.
Right.
He should still get one drop off, but, I mean, how long is that really going to last? How much pressure is that really going to get done here?
Okay,
the Observer Scouts.
He might actually turn around.
I think that's the better choice. If he can do critical damage to these units and counterattack, I think that's the better option.
Well,
He's patrolling or moving this drop very carefully because he has his Observer.
This is it. Can he do the damage?
He needs to do it. Doesn't even fire the Scarab.
Miscontrolled there. What he wants to do, guys, he's trying to target down workers on a patch, because you can blow up about a quarter of the workers, sometimes even a third, on that patch. But right now, this is like a Muay Thai clench hold that Shuttle has free it, and he's slowly bleeding him out as far as resources go. It seems like Shuttle's actually pretty confident he can bilk out more damage over the
on the workers instead of the army.
Well, I think what he wants to do is say that he can kill off a lot more units trying to leave here and buy even more time. So here comes. This is a lot harder to do.
Okay, just one Dragoon gets hit there. He's already splitting those to the back to make sure that they don't die, because they're going to be priority targets in the front.
So he's sending these Zealots over here in the front to try to get in the way, and he's going to try to target this. Now, he's got to be sure that he doesn't lose the Shuttle. Very good maneuvering here by the player Shuttle, by the way.
Yeah. backing off there. He's getting his own Reavers, because that's kind of how you get
Okay, this is greedy. Here we go. He's going to go for the shuttle itself.
Oh,
He
nice
knocks it out.
damage there on those Dragoons. The shuttle goes down, but he took a lot of damage. Now he's actually kind of outnumbered here by Free's units, and Free's breaking out.
So Free has actually trapped some shuttles units at the top here. I believe he's going to have to follow this up with pressure. Now, did he take out enough Dragoons? I think a safer play could have been for Free to stay a little bit, excuse me, for Shuttle to stay a little bit further back. This counterattack may have enough to run over the other player, and it looks kind of crazy because this other base has been up for a while. But enough Dragoons were killed there, enough of Shuttle's
And
Dragoons
several
were
were damaged too, you know?
So he has to hold this. It's paramount that Free break this position. He also should be making a shuttle and a Reaver, which is an opportunity for him to do some damage of his own back here. But the angling right now for Shuttle is pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's got the outside here controlled. He's got somewhat of a concave. There's a few Zealots to tank in the front. They don't have legs, of course, so they're going to just basically be meat shields here.
Speed upgrade, yeah. He's got the Dragoons, and actually, I think Shuttle's trading favorably enough here. You got to remember, one guy has 2 bases, the other has 1, so it's more forgivable for Shuttle to lose units than it is for Free to here. Now, what Shuttle's attempting to do is squash Free up here at the top. He needs to make sure that Free can't take another base, and then he sort of wins by default. But slow-moving Reaver onto the high ground. He's hoping that Shuttle will overextend. Does he? Let's see.
Yeah, we're going to find out in just a second. He doesn't have his own Reaver here. It's back at home.
So a lot of times when they really feel the pressure, they'll make the Reaver before the Shuttle because the Reaver at least can do some damage. It's pretty tricky to control that overall on the ground. Now, over here for Free, he does have his own shuttle and a Reaver in it, so he may continue to try to push here. So a lot of the Koreans really delay the Zealot speed upgrade by a huge amount and stay on the Reaver play and just try to, make the game on that because it's so easy to punish somebody who's transitioning in the tech. But so far, so good. Now, again, Free is still on 1 base, okay?
Yep.
And you notice that Shuttle's not even making probes.
Yeah, the army is just going to get larger and larger with the better economy he has.
Right, and he's just staying on this. And right now it's like 90% chance that Shuttle closes out the game unless Free has some miracle play here.
He's going to need miracle Reaver shots. I think that's really the only way it's going to happen.
Right.
And he can't attack into this position anymore.
Now remember, guys, a lot of this position just went down to the fact that Free neglected getting observers. He misread the situation. Shuttle went for Dragoon range. A lot of players skipped that for quicker DTs, and because he saw Dragoon range, he decided to make more Dragoons of his own and then eventually get a Reaver to get a superior Reaver push, and those DTs punished him.
If he could snipe the Reavers of Shuttle, which is pretty unlikely, but if he could do that, he might be able to make a longer battle happen where he gets more Reaver value, but
all right,
I think the control here is just going to be too good. He snipes the Observer, that's huge.
So we want to watch the Shuttles and the Reavers here.
Yeah.
This is this is actually one of the harder things to do in the game. It requires really precise control. The angling here is better for Free, but I think time is on Shuttle's hands.
He can just dodge this with a shuttle, too.
Oh,
he didn't.
My God. Okay, he got the first hit off here.
This is what I'm talking about. If he gets these Reavers, maybe he could win the fight.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
That's the priority here. And
now he's going to bait the Dragoons out here. Now look at that. He had the other Reaver back there. I'm actually loving this setup. I'm actually learning a lot just by seeing this.
The Observer finally gets taken out here, so he doesn't have as much vision, so it's harder to move forward like this. Another decent Reaver shot goes off.
Now he wants to try to aim for the Reavers. That's just out of his vision. So he's going to get... Did that connect?
I think that
actually dodged it. He dodged it. That's insane.
Oh, kills one! That was a mistake here by Shuttle, losing that.
He's got a lot of push potential here. He's going to pick up. He's baited out some of the Dragoons.
Okay, here comes the attack. More and more of these Scarabs being fired here. And Zealots up in the front, tanking.
Freeze control is really good here.
He has the better position as well. He's getting way more value.
He needs to pick up his Reaver. Firing. No, his Reaver's actually okay. I was going
There's some Psystorm, though. He got Psystorm. That's why he has less units.
There he goes.
But he kills both Reavers. And that should be enough for him to hold. He has this Reaver still alive. 2 Scarabs available. It goes down, but he still has so many units rallying out, including a DT. There's no detection.
That
should be game.
Should be the end of the game. Yep, there it is. GG.
GG. What a great brush we just watched.
That was really cool. I got to say, actually, it's pretty impressive how long Free lasted in that. You can see Shuttle very pleased with that win.
He took a big risk with the Dark Templar tag at the beginning, but with no observatory, didn't have an answer. He could have won the game just by default if he had targeted down the robotics, but he didn't know. And that's one of the things about StarCraft. Sometimes you just don't know. If Absorber's about to pop out, you wasted all your DPS and you could have done more. So he took the quote-unquote safe path, killed the Dragoons, controlled that game. You could see Free was never able to expand. He never even tried to after that happened.
I gotta say, it's too bad that we had the DTs get in there right away. The other player took a risk and got punished for the DTs because I think that game could have been a lot closer. But that was interesting. Really cool to see them controlling those Reavers. I like how he kept one Reaver back. Even though Free lost, he kept one Reaver back. Had just the other shuttle with the one Reaver push in there. And then when he eventually baits out the Dragoons, there's a Reaver in the back there to connect and hit them. So that was really cool. But ultimately, it was Shuttle with a better build order and better decision making, and that allowed him to win.
Psystorm there at the end kind of closed it out. He killed the last of the Reavers. And
well, Psystorm is like the next step in PvP once you get past Reavers. If Reavers enter the game, there are games where they're not used, but it's more rare than it is common. But yeah, when you get the Psystorm, the Reavers just have a harder time.
Well, like, even if they're on the ground or in the air, the shuttle's going to be taking damage on the ground or in the air, and then if the Reavers drop out, they still take the damage. So it's like persistent damage wherever it is, whereas Dragoon shots can simply be dodged. So that was kind of the last nail in the coffin there.
So we're going to go to a short break. When we come back, we'll go on. Oh, excuse me. No, we're going to go on to an interview because he's moving on out of this group.
The fan favorite was defeated here, and Shuttle is going to move on. So
some
a lot
of these
of sad
players
fans
who are less successful in the earlier days of Brood War are having a lot of success now. Very cool to see. So we'll get this interview translated for you guys.
There's a ton of people down here.
Yeah, it's very full here in the studio. A lot of people watching this on the Korean stream. You know, people seeing their favorite game come back. Super cool. Okay, now we're going to go to that interview and see how Shuttle's feeling.
유부남이자 그 가장으로서의 그런 투구전을 제대로 보여줬습니다. 오늘 어떤 부분에 있어서 자신이 잘했기 때문에.
So you're married with a child now, and you were still able to advance to the round of 8. Tell us about that.
한 번도 안 했었는데 그냥 즉흥적으로 했거든요. 근데 그게 좀 잘 먹혀 들어간 것 같아요.
I actually never used this build during practice. It's my first time using it, but you know what? It worked out well for me.
저도 이게 계속 생각했어요. 어제 하루 종일 이게 프로브를 바로 뺄지 계속 돌릴지. 근데 용태형은 바로 빼더라고요. 그래서 저도 난 한번 오래 살려보고 상대 정찰을 한번 계속 해보자 이렇게 해가지고 제가 프로브 죽기 전에 게이트를 봤어요.
When I was scouting, I wasn't sure if I should check everywhere first or just go directly to his main. Anyways, I was able to scout out my opponent faster than he was able to scout me, and that gave me a huge edge in that game.
그럼 마지막에 혹시 그 이용태 그 싸움을 잘한다는 그 이용태 선수가 마구마구 이렇게 막 들어올 때 뭔가 막 끌려나가서 병력들이 막 이렇게 죽고 저렇게 죽고 했는데 어떻게
So tell us about that last battle against Free. Free's known for having incredible control with the Reavers.
마우스만 놓지 않으면 그냥 막 싸워도 이기는 상황이었어요. 너무 좋아가지고.
So I had a bigger army than him, but he was actually able to take out a lot more of my units. I had a few micro mistakes, but ultimately I was able to win.
집에 가면 사랑 많이 받겠는데요.
사실 제가 그 지금 저희 아기가 이제 6개월 됐는데.
Your family must be very happy right now. Anything to say?
제가 대회 준비한다고 와이프한테 다 맡겨두고 제가 어제는
My child is only 6 months old.
와이프가 엄청 힘들고 그랬는데 그걸 와이프한테 너무 고맙고.
I wasn't able to spend quite as much time with him as I wanted to because I had to practice for this tournament. So I just want to say thank you to my wife. I love you. You've been doing a great job taking care of my family.
그 부인분께 그렇게 뭐 사랑한다 뭐 이런 표현 같은 건 안 하시나요 혹시?
네, 전 안 합니다.
오늘 갈 생각 없으신가요?
우승하고 하겠습니다.
What? Sorry, wait. He says, you want to say that you love her? He says, I'll tell her I love her when I win this tournament.
우승하고 싶어요.
예, 그렇게 우승을 하고 싶은 마음이
크다고 합니다.
부인분 오늘 김윤 선수 혼 좀 많이 내주시고요. 우승 못하면은 집에서 좀
Obviously very motivating for him and his family.
예, 감사합니다.
That's a lot of money to help that family out, right?
Yeah.
Well, you got like 15 grand for first place here. Anyways, guys, that does it for now. We are going to go on a short break, but before we go, we actually have this under the game Brood War instead of StarCraft 2. Please tell people to tune into this. I think they're going to love it. We're really hoping we can actually get Brood War on the front page of Twitch.
Help us grow this game that's been around for forever that not that many people know about.
Well, at least this tournament, I think everybody knows about it, but people don't know that it can still be followed right now. So please get out there, use your social media, tell people to join us here at the ASL. We're going to go on a short break. When we come back, game number 2 out of our 4 matches tonight. Stay tuned.
질서와 수호를 위해서라면
마계의 화염이
누구도 나를 막을 순 없어. 방해하겠다면 전부 부숴주지.
나는 KT 기가 인터넷. 당신과 끊김없이 게임을 즐기죠. 어디서나 우린 함께해요. 어때요? 나랑 콜라보 하실래요? 당신의 KT.
메이플 스토리 2 신규 직업 스트라이커.
이거 좋은데?
봄꽃책에서 듣다. 있는 그대로 맑고 깨끗하게 피어나라고 겨울을 이겨낸 봄꽃이 내게 말했다. 맑고 깨끗한 칠성사이다.
답답할 때 마셔봐요 트로피카나. 상큼상큼 과일 듬뿍 스파클링.
리얼 프루트를 스파클링으로
과즙이 톡톡 쏜다. 트로피카나 스파클링.
미소가 생기다. 화사함이 생기다. 건강한 하루가 생기다.
pH 8.0과 풍부한 미네랄로 핑크빛 생기가 생기다. 아이시스 8.0.
이제 모두 핑크하세요.
스타일 상쾌하면 되는 거야. 상쾌함의 높이가 다르다. Stylish Sparkling Water 롯데 트레비.
메신저의 혁신이 이런 실시간 라이브 움짤 기능은 지금 스노우앱에서밖에 없죠. 굉장히 많은 팬분들이 영상 메시지와 메신저를 보내주고 계십니다. 아프리카 원탑 역캠답게 이설이라고 메시지가 왔는데 길 가다 만나지 마라. 길 가다 만나지 마라고. 느낌 있죠? 리본 하나 찬 다음에 딸랑딸랑 고양이 섹시합니다. 외쳐 스노우. 라마.
오호, 물로 지금 거의 뭐 수분을 그냥 갖다 들이붓는 것 같아요. 자, 바른 쪽과 안 바른 쪽입니다. 차에 보여드릴게요. 내가 발라봤는데 대표는 앞으로 그냥 나도 찍어 발라야 될 것 같아요. 잘 봐요. 자, 이렇게 깔끔하게 아래쪽만 다듬어도 선이 딱 살아있잖아요. 선 라인 자체가. 잠깐만. 이런 느낌이구나. 허허. 오늘 여러 가지 제품들 올리브영에서 제가 지금 제품을 받아서 사용을 해봤는데 굉장히 좋은 것 같아요. 올리브영 제품이 짱인 것 같습니다.
네, 아프리카 TV와 함께하는 킹덤 스토리 연애의 신.
이거 사극을 찍는 것 같아요.
정말 안 어울립니다. 약간 왜소하고.
맞아. 위초고 삼국 대결.
장비! 나이스! 나이스!
나 심쿵했어.
17,800원. 와, 군주는 무릎을 꿇을 수 있어요. 아, 뭐야 이거 어떻게 본 건데? 저에게는 간호 장비 같은 존재입니다. 진짜 유익한 게임이니까 여러분들 진짜로 많이 해보셨으면 좋겠습니다.
올리브영 플러스 유소나 예뻐져라 뷰티 방송. 홈쇼핑 아닙니다. 첫 뷰티 방송 시작하겠습니다. 달콤한 꽃에 겹겹이 둘러싸인 듯. 여러분, 이 모든 제품들은 올리브영에서 살 수 있습니다. 새로운 네일 아트로 사랑을 표현할게요. 감사합니다. 고맙습니다. 세상에.
KT와 아프리카TV가 함께하는 기가 콜라보 페스티벌. 강렬한 태양 아래 해운대 백사장에서 펼쳐지는 국내 최대 기가급 페스티벌. 기가 인터넷의 속도로 즐기는 e스포츠의 축제. 아프리카TV 인기 BJ가 총출동하는 KT 기가 레전드 매치 오버워치 BJ 리그. e스포츠의 성지 부산에서 펼쳐지는 KT 기가 레전드 매치. 폭풍저그 홍진호, 최종 경기 테란 이영호, 몽상과 프로토스 강민, 혁명과 프로토스 김태경. 다시 만나는 전설 속의 스타크래프트 영웅들. KT 기가 레전드 매치. 아프리카TV 인기 DJ들의 축하 공연까지 즐길 수 있는 올여름 최고의 기가급 페스티벌. KT와 아프리카TV가 함께하는 기가 콜라보 페스티벌에 여러분을 초대합니다. ASL
What up? Welcome back to the ASL. We are about to go into another great match. We just saw a PvP. I think that was our first PvP.
Yeah, I think
of
the ASL. The whole tournament. So
yeah.
Really exciting one, though. We got to see kind of how things work a little bit differently than they do in StarCraft 2.
Right.
Dark Templar Rush goes in. He doesn't target the robo, but he targets the units. That gives him a huge advantage.
Tech paths are much more unforgiving in PvP and Brood War. I'm actually amazed, though, considering he didn't even have an observer out, that Free was able to last that long in that game. You saw that even though it was like nearly impossible to recover from, he did all the right moves to sustain and stay in that game.
Yeah, we saw Shuttle was kind of like freaked out a little bit. Yeah, in his interview, he said, well, I even stayed up late at night thinking about whether or not I was going to scout, and I decided to, and that gave me the edge. And it's just little moves like that that can either cause you to win the game or can cost you big. So here's our BJFS. We have an Overwatch tournament, but more importantly, we do have the Legends match happening next weekend with these 4 Brood War Legends. So definitely do check that out and tell your friends, because everyone who watched Brood War in the old days definitely knows them. And even if you've never watched Brood War before, you at least know the second guy Flash there. So
that's right. The other one's Bisu, Nalra, and Yellow. So players all from different generations. And that's going to be a lot of fun. That'll be held down in Busan on the beach. So definitely, tell your friends to check that out. That is going to be a lot of fun as well. And we still got plenty more games to show you guys here tonight, which we're going to be hopping into momentarily. We're going to be up on our map Overwatch. No coincidence there. We have a new map Overwatch.
Yeah.
Of course, promoting Blizzard's new game Overwatch, which is an awesome game as well.
It definitely is an awesome game. Check it out. This map is really fun, though, and especially if we get horizontal spawns, which we seem to be getting a lot in this tournament, especially in TVZs. I swear, like, every TVZ ends up happening on this map. We have close spawns. You can see how the pressure with bio works, but the transitions we've been talking about a lot. We'll see how it happens tonight with the transition into mech if the Terran player gets caught by the Zerg, because that's the weak point, it seems like, right now in this build. And the crux of this is, can the Zerg harass the mutas or just overwhelm them with a bunch of units and lurkers before that happens? And then if not, how do they deal with the mech army in the late game?
So, I believe that match is almost ready to go. We just had our 2 players join the lobby. This matchup, Terran versus Zerg, has been quite interesting. Taking a look at our first player, it's going to be Oregon, also known as Piano.
Yep, kind of upgrading his ID there, even having the keys and his ID. Pretty nice touch there.
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
Did lose the Terran versus Terran to start, but defeated Jaehoon in a pretty nice match there, where Jaehoon just couldn't respond to his fast expand. You see, this player has been around for a long time. Some of the stuff that some of his career results aren't even listed because he has so many of them. But he's definitely a very well-known player, and I think is the big favorite going into this series.
All right, guys, we are very close to starting this matchup. It's been very interesting to see it actually evolve. I always thought this was the matchup that had been solved and would never change. Apparently, that's never the case here in Brood War. Here is his opponent, Larva. This guy also really able to handle the current meta of ZVT, especially in the late game against some of these pretty creative Terrans that have reinvented the matchup entirely.
Yep, he's actually a runner-up of the 7th StarLeague. So the 7th Sonic StarLeague, I should say, which is, again, this contemporary Brewer I keep talking about, Brewer that happened after Pro League and after Kespa. And he is a good player, but he has had his worst results by far in this contemporary Brood War in this tournament. So he's the underdog here, and he's already dropped out of the group, but we'll see if he can redeem himself in this Zerg versus Terran. And I think this is going to be an exciting moment for everyone to see what someone who's in this position might do. I mean, you can see the favoritism here with all the commentators, except you were pretty unbiased.
I thought the game that Oregon won, I thought that was the Protoss' fault. I didn't feel, I mean, I thought, not that he played poorly, but yeah. I'm taking that one with a grain of salt. If you go back and look at that game, I think Protoss just handled the early game wrong and didn't give himself a lot of opportunities, and I think it could have been almost any Terran that would have won from there. So I'm still putting this at 50-50.
For me, I looked at Larva's previous games, and he just did not look like he is in good form for this tournament right now. Maybe he's just prioritizing other things or just has had a bad few weeks. But either way, I mean, it looks like the Korean commentators are kind of on my side on this one. We'll see, though, because sometimes when you're having bad results and you are the underdog, sometimes you can cheese somebody, you can do something that's unexpected and take a win. And for Oregon, this match is much more important. He needs to win it. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, Oregon is a very good player, very seasoned. Larva, I don't think he's used to a tournament with this much attention at it. You know, there's so many people, especially in South Korea, watching right now. I don't know, man. You know, also, I'm very curious to see, you know, what's Oregon's TVZ style going to be. This is now proven to be a matchup where Terran have a lot of avenues to play it. Let's see if Larva has what it takes. This is now our second best of one tonight. Oregon versus Larva here in the ASL.
임진묵, 김홍규, ASL 시즌 1 16강.
Okay, our first player, the Terran player in the orange in the upper left, it is Oregon. And in the bottom right, Artosa says it looks like he would do your taxes. It is Larva.
Why?
No, he looks like that. Or I forget he was saying something to me like, it looks like I would be like, excuse me, Larva, could I get these documents like photocopied or something? I need like 5 copies. To be like, yeah, no problem.
He seems more like the guy who'd tell me that whatever I wanted done couldn't be done. I'm sorry, sir, we can't. I'm sorry, sir, we just can't do that.
That's impossible, sir.
Sorry, I'm sorry. You'll have to come back next Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's the only day we do that.
So we got cross spots here. That could lend itself to a pretty long game.
That sign's upside down. No
Yeah.
one told him.
The
it's the same sign reversed. Okay, I didn't realize.
Oh,
ooh, that's
look
clever.
At you. So we've seen this throughout the ASL, but in the current meta, Zerg, the third base is usually another main. It's been like that off and on in Brood War, but they usually take another main because they want to try to expand far away from the Terran and utilize the ramp so that if Medic Marine do push out, they're forced to fight on a ramp, in which case, against Lurkers specifically, they always die. Now, because it's cross spots, bottom left and upper right are a lot closer. Normally you expand to the location furthest, so I'm wondering how exactly this will pan out in a TVZ if Larva can sustain in the mid game and late game.
Yeah, we'll have to see what sort of tech he wants to do. We saw at the beginning of this tournament, Mutalisks were less popular, but in the last few ZBTs, people are mixing even 2-hatch Muta back into the mix of things. And this is definitely something we may see here. But yeah, you're absolutely right, because both third base opportunities with how the meta is right now are going to give Piano kind of an inherent advantage. I guess we're calling him Oregon now, but yeah.
I'm still calling Eyewater Shuttle because I just can't. I can't do it, man. I don't know, man.
Well, it's okay. So to explain this idea to non-Korean fans watching this, the word for tears is actually literally translated to Eyewater.
Right.
So, like, I think the idea is, like, everyone who faces him will cry, like, because that's how hard it's going to be, but it's just not really translated correctly. So it's not like your eyes are watering because he's an onion or something, but...
No, it's, yeah, it's not exactly like a, an ID that has the stickiness when you literally translate it into English.
Sure. And also, Shuttle is a name that's known for so long to even foreign Brood War fans. If this were something that this was an unknown player, we'd be like, okay, well, we can just call him that, I guess.
Yeah, right. No, it's yeah. Whenever they do these ID changes, because I know the Brood War guys are not as familiarized with the branding in English of a.
Yeah. Also, the Brood War players are known for their Korean names and not their IDs. The ID is just kind of this weird thing. That's why even in this game, Larva has like a funny nickname relating to stars, which is why he was spamming those stars in the chat earlier. So he's just kind of trying to mess with the Korean fans, but everyone's just going to call him Hongyu, his Korean name.
When I first got to Korea and started doing Brood War tournaments, they actually wanted me to call the players by their Korean names. And I was just like, you don't understand, man. The entire non-Korean audience does not know or care about what their real names. They can't read it, and they sound it's in some ways similar enough to each other that it's harder to remember, where they already have these IDs they're using. And eventually, back when this was GOM TV, I did convince them to let me do that. But yeah, it was like a really weird phase where it was like, look, man, I mean,
you know, just like English names sound strange to a lot of Koreans, it would probably be better if we just use these IDs.
I like that we have both, you know? It's like
Yeah,
in
no,
American football, it's a name and a number, right? You know, you can refer to them as both.
Right, but I think in this there's a lot more stickiness with just, you know, having the ID there. Kind of like, you know, there's Clark Kent, but there's also Superman.
Right.
You know, so.
Well, this game is one of the first we'll see in this matchup on this map that's cross spawns here. And we do see the Lair coming up. We'll see if he decides to add the Hydrogen or a Spire coming up, whereas there's not been any pressure of any kind just yet, as the Terran doesn't have his Academy yet. He's going to need that for Stim and his medics. And it's going to be tougher to attack. Just like in StarCraft 2, if you guys watch StarCraft 2, at cross spawns, and it would be if they were both spawning at the top locations. So he won't be able to put on as heavy of pressure, which gives Larva a little bit of flexibility, but as you mentioned, taking his third base is the next conundrum. Where is he going to do that? Might even take the 3 o'clock, even though it's not on top of a ramp.
Yeah, you beat me to that. He might just take a base that's closer and have a different style of play. So what is this tech that we see here? It's a Spire.
Oh my god, the SCV scouts it. But he has a Hydrogen too, so he's actually doing both.
Yeah. And
this could really throw off what Oregon's thinking, but he might punish the greed.
Well, I think what you can do with this is you kind of evaluate what he's trying to do and then just go for one of the two techs, because it's not really that much to get a Spire. And
good control on that Marine.
Yeah, nicely done. He could have picked off one Marine. He does still run inside and get some intel here on what's
He's adding
going on.
double barracks, which means that he definitely wants to do like some really heavy pressure here.
Right.
And this is important, again, that Larva scouts. The scouting is one of the big parts of any StarCraft game and any RTS. But seeing this is really important. So now we can add these sunken colonies, which are going to be required to hold the follow-up attack.
I'm a little bit worried here because that's only 3 sunken colonies. And, I mean, lurkers are still, you know, in the far distance for tech. I suppose with one medic, he might still be able to hold it, but you want to be careful. They always, and in fact, see how he's stimming those Marines in the back? I think he sees there might be an opening to do a timing attack here. Now, Zerg is going for 9 Mutalisks. We know that because he saved the Larva. We didn't see anything else making during that. The Ling coming in here, he's still trying to scout and see, okay, like, what's the tech going to be here? Can I just kind of delay any Marines from moving out?
Yeah, I think another important thing is he knows nobody is at home, so the attack is about to hit him right now.
Now, with the Mutas should hatch right when this next batch of Marines and medics come over here, and I think that'll make it impossible to come in. But some Terrans will try this anyways. You know, it's a very narrow timing for the attack. Okay, so I would say with the Mutas out, he probably won't do it.
Yeah, he's just going to need to add turrets. Oh, he's hiding them, and he's just going to run by with them.
Okay, now this can go one of two ways. Zerg can do a lot of damage to the Terran since there's not much defense. At the same time, though, the Terran could try to dive in on top of that expansion.
I think what Oregon is trying to do here is he's just trying to make sure the Zerg is on 2 bases because he knows it's going to be tough to break through.
Yeah, you're 100% correct, Wolf. And the reason for that is that you know, with the presence of the Marines and medics in the map, Zerg can't fully engage it. He can try to poke at it and take off little stray units here and there. And it looks like the only other problem is when you do this, that army's kind of stranded. Oh my God! That
The Hydrogen is in range here. Now some of these shots will miss, but he should have enough DPS if he maintains vision to take this out.
Yep, and that should be killed off right before the scan diminishes.
Very well done. Okay, he's actually just going to fight into this with the Mutas, trying to pick off a few Marines. They will regen pretty quickly. He needs the help of the Zerglings to kind of help tank. And you know what? He's chipping this army down pretty hard, Tasteless. In fact, he's going to clean it up.
So that's one of the problems if Terran stays out there for too long. A lot of times when the Mutas come out, they'll send the army back and have everything regroup in the middle and play it safe. It seems like Oregon didn't want to let the other player get lurkers out, but he killed the Hydra Den, so it's actually Mutalink for the time being.
Yeah.
Now we still got to see where does Zerg take the 3rd base because he's powering on 2 bases for a while now.
Lurkers, whoa, miscontrol here. He's actually going to fight behind this though, but it's really expensive what he's just done. In fact, never want to do this. This is just kind of trying to make a bad situation better.
You know, because he had so many units at the start of that, he might have been able to have a much better exchange if he had just attacked in and not had that on move command.
Yep.
And we see the drone now going to the bottom left and the upper right. This is actually not uncommon. You try to figure out where's Terran's attention, and you expand to the location that the other army is not, and play it safe. Now from here, now we have seen some players get vultures. Terran might do that here. The more traditional approach is to get some tanks. So see how he's hiding these drones? He's going to wait and try to get an idea of where his opponent's at. He's also sending these Mutas back, hoping maybe he can draw the army back home.
It's tough for the Zerg to pressure right now because he lost those Mias earlier, and I don't know if he really wants to be replacing those right now, but like you mentioned, the Hydralisk Den was dead, and this almost certainly happened before Lurker aspect was done. So you have to actually research the ability to make Lurkers in StarCraft 1. So, I mean, he's really reset this, and it's hard for the Zerg to do anything without those Lurkers. And if he knew where the base was, he could easily deny it. In fact, neither of the bases to the top right or bottom left have even been started yet. Okay, looks like he did get that aspect. He's starting the Lurkers.
Okay, so yeah, he's got the Lurker ability. But the problem is that this base we just have a shot of over there is susceptible to a push. Now, Terran should have scans saved up. And by the way, we're going to go for the traditional TVZ style. He's getting the tanks here. He'll be getting science vessels a little bit later on.
Yeah, he just got his starport finished, so he should be making the facility back at home. Looks like he's going to try to sandwich this army, though. Here come the Lings from the top. Lurkers do manage to burrow, and this is a huge moment
Good
for
targeting.
Larva.
Does take out one Mutalisk. Now, he had to do that. However, Terran scans, and you know what? I think Terran might get a win in this skirmish down here because
he's going to have the high ground, too, once he gets there.
Yeah, no, he'll be good, especially against Mutaling Lurker. If you have enough space to run and fight. Look, can I see how he's staying at the ramp here? He might let this hatchery finish. Nope, never mind.
Well, let me just come in here. He's going to be forced to act. There are two medics here, one Lurker trying to get in.
Okay, so he forced to cancel. Now, sometimes... And, you know, you have to be like one of the greatest players in the world to have this down. Sometimes you let that finish stim and kill it. Because what Zerg did was Zerg canceled that hatchery and started the other drone at the top right. And it's sort of this game of whack-a-mole that you see going on here. And that's because Oregon got a good position earlier, so Larva's having to scramble to try to catch up. Now, the dropship coming down here, oops, he got spotted by an Overlord, so he has to turn around. I was going to say the dropship would try to go into the main here and kill the Defiler mound. There's also Scourge ready at the bottom in case that happens, but he sees it.
Yep, so now it's just no longer even worth trying because the Scourge you just mentioned that are around the map. So, and he's getting a decent amount of tanks out here, as you guys can see, and the Science Vessel means that he doesn't have to use scans in order to fight, so he can use scans for other things. And once Irradiate is finished, it's going to be so tough to fight. He's even getting a second eBay here. It looks like he's going to be sticking with the bio tank style, the old traditional style.
This is cool. He's going to try to drop up here, and I think he's actually managed to maneuver through anything that could spot this. While he's pushing over here, it's more important that he kills this expansion with a drop.
Okay, Dark Swarm should protect these Lurkers if he's paying attention. Okay, there it goes.
There it goes.
Can't fight this anymore. He has to maneuver around it. But here's the drop you were talking about. He could snipe this hatch. This is huge.
Very important. The hatchery is about to finish. Zerg decides to let it finish. But Mutas and Lings should be able to clean up some of this.
But this allows the attack to the south to actually be more potent. And here he comes. He's moving in. He's got the Science Vessel at the front. But he just goes straight into Irradiate that Defiler if he has that finished.
Yeah, he wants to get the Irradiate off. Now remember, Zerg has only had 2 gases this whole time. So he doesn't have a lot of Defilers. So with good Irradiates, I believe that's a Defiler he irradiated. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, we didn't see it really fully on camera there, but I think you're right.
Yeah, but with that up and running, he's going to have a much easier time trying to push this. If he can just irradiate the next few Defilers that come out here, he might be able to snowball the damage.
He's even going to hit this macro hatch.
This is a little something he can do over here for the time being. Is just try to take out one of these hatches. He's going to have another drop coming up over here. Now, the Mutas are just so happen to be in a good position. You can already see the hatcheries being remade down here.
Yeah, replacing that is important. The Mutas will shut this down. In fact, this is basically going to be useless.
No, I think actually he has enough. He can do some damage, but the Dark Swarm is going to be the real story here. So he micros his back just slightly. Of course, now remember, he is forcing Dark Swarms out of these Defilers. Defilers can traffic through the Nidus network back and forth, but every Dark Swarm he has, he'll have to consume more Lings. So it's a little bit more dicey than it might look. If you guys don't know what Dark Swarm is, by the way, that's the orange cloud the Defiler casts. Ranged attacks don't do damage under it, only splash damage attacks. So the Marines are fundamentally just useless. Now he might siege up over here and try to hit the Nidus, I think.
He's looking for it. He sees it, and it's just barely in range. 44 health, but he's going to get jumped on here. The Nidus is down. He needs to unsiege it back off. One tank down. The second should go down as well. The third one gets out.
You can see pushes and Brood War are super unforgiving. Now, I don't know if Oregon's going to switch into mech behind this. He's made a lot of fire bats. I think he might.
He also got a second eBay, too, so he's going full into the upgrades.
Oh, did he? Okay, good thing you noticed that. That's now, because he kept the the Zerg off the third gas for so long, you can see Zerg's only just now really, reaping the benefits of the third gas. He might think that he can actually just bust through here with fire bats. Fire bats are okay under Dark Swarm. The problem is Lurker Spike's going to obliterate them quickly, but if they're low on Lurkers, low on Defilers,
You eventually just get through, you know, basically.
Exactly. Okay, so he got a physics lab over here. That's interesting. We might actually see a battle cruiser.
Yeah. I mean, this is crazy. Like, BC's coming out can really, obviously, you can start pushing and sieging with Yamato cannon.
Yeah, well, one of the things as well is that Zerg doesn't have a lot of gas for Mutalisks or Scourge. So you can kind of just fly the battlecruiser over and start hitting drones. This was like something that was brought out a long time ago, and then it went away, and occasionally you see it reemerge, and I think that Oregon has got a good finger on the pulse of this game. Oh!
Oh, gets one vessel. That's pretty huge for the cost of that. Irradiate goes down. He's going to try to break this with the fire bets. As you were mentioning, Sunken's doing the damage they can. Those lurkers do come and burrow. Dark Storm's about to wear off, but he needs to back off, and he will.
Okay, so the number of lurkers over there is pretty big, so that can be a lot tougher to deal with. Now he's
this is actually really aggressive here, what we're seeing from Larva, but the Dark Swarm is still active.
This is probably what he wants to do is try to shove him back, you know, a screen or so distance back, to try to keep the other player away. Now, our observer, you can see, is checking. He's saying, is he really going for BC?
I think he is. I mean, you got the physics lab.
BC is really interesting. Battlecruisers, by the way, guys. They're in StarCraft 2, but we never see them.
They're not really in StarCraft 2.
It's like physically possible to make one, but you don't really ever see it. So this is pretty cool. Okay. But I think this is a good read. In case you guys are wondering, yes, you can outrange a lurker with tanks not in siege mode.
Yep, as long as you have vision under the Dark Swarm, you can start picking those off. And he is just kind of controlling this location here again.
Okay.
Oh, nice
Good
play. Really well done.
That drops all the HP over there to 1 on those units until it wears off. So that actually bleeds out a lot of the medic energy.
Also, the tanks, you know, they're not going to have to be having one to repair them. So he's actually going to try to target these down with the spikes.
He actually gets us with the fire bats. How funny is that?
He wanted to get those tanks.
He actually took that out.
This is actually starting to be too much damage here. The Defiler's also exposed here with 6 health. He wanted the tanks, I think, because they're so low. One spike would have killed both, but he just couldn't quite get it.
I think in the top center there's a battlecruiser moving around. I'm not sure. See this orange
Yeah,
dot?
I see it. It's going the right speed. I think you're right. You're talking about this.
Looks,
Yep, there it is. Here they are.
Now this is interesting because, you know, Medic Marine on ground with tanks, you can hold off like a maxed out army if you have enough Dark Swarms. Air to ground, that becomes more problematic. Yes, you can Dark Swarm stuff and actually delay, you know, the damage being dealt, but the air units can hit everywhere.
Okay,
so
he's going to just target this down. He will get the first one, but it cost him so much gas to do that.
This is like news to me. So
he didn't even kill it, actually. It's still alive.
With that number, this is so funny, with that number of Mutas and Scourge, apparently that's the ideal number to try to hit that army. Now he's got the Medic Marine back behind the mineral patches. Lurkers are burrowing underground.
He needs to get that
there.
Scourge to hit the right one. Oh, he doesn't even get it.
He's
It's
going
so
for
low.
the Nidus, and he is going to take that out, which means this is going to be a lot more damage. This could be the breaking point.
Yeah, this is going to be a dead base. I don't see any way he can hold this without reinforcements. If the Nidus goes down, he hasn't quite killed it yet, so I have to eat my words on that one, but it's very low.
Let's see if he can. He's still, you know, causing a problem. Now, Zerg is making mass Scourge, but you got to remember, that's a lot of gas.
And it's not going to be useful against anything besides the BCs.
Yeah, or the vessels, maybe, but I mean, you don't.
It's not going to kill the bio.
Right, he needs to have lurkers to kill the bio. So we're actually having this mass dropship play. This is so cool. This is such another alternative style. I think a lot of this, the reasoning behind this is because Zerg was on 2 bases for so long and is kind of scrambling to get in good shape here. So he's going to come out here once again. Oh my God! What are the odds?
Very
lucky
odds here, but it's not enough still. And I mean, I guess the BCs are kind of a Scourge magnet, so you can try to draw those away so these drops can actually land and be effective. And he's going to have one in the main, and these 3 should hit here in the natural. Lurkers repositioning already.
Now these are mass fire bats he's dropping over here. Ooh. Oh my God! You know, Oregon might be throwing this pretty hard, man. You can't lose that many drop ships. I think the idea was pretty cool. However, if Scourge are connecting with it, that's all she wrote, man.
Yeah, the other thing is, I mean, I could see the idea, but if you're forcing Scourge with your BCs, is this really the safe follow-up to that? Because he's going to have some excess Scourge anyways, as we saw.
I like what you said there, Wolf. That's like really smart. Well, I think he got the 2 BCs out, and then he's like, all right, now I'm going to switch into drop ships. I'm surprised he's not going for vessels. The more traditional style is you just get a ridiculous amount of vessels. You know, if he has a scan, he can kill that lurker. You get a ridiculous amount of science vessels and just start to irradiate defilers.
Even the drone lines, you know, you can start to irradiate them if you have this much control over the game. Okay, this push is looking really scary. The Nidus, I think, is finally dead up here. That Plague is going to make those units die really quickly, but he needs follow-up. I'm not sure if the Nidus is actually still alive, because if it is, he can defend that.
Oh, really good job there.
These Plagues have been on point as well.
Yeah.
He keeps hitting them. These little units are all so low. Just going to get finished off
So
here.
funny because the Zergling attacks, its animation is faster than the Fire Bats. You would expect that many Fire Bats to kill the Zergling, but they get delayed just slightly by that. So Terran is on 4 bases now. Well, barely. A 4th base is about to be up and running. He's continuing to drop around here, but I got to say that Larva's like stabilizing pretty damn well.
Yep. Okay, this drop under the Dark Swarm is still somewhat effective because of the Fire Bats, but the big story here is these Marines on the right side. They can even kill the spawning pool, which means no more Lings. I think this really starts to be too much damage to Asus. I don't know if he can really recover. I mean, he has a lot of units he's stabilized, but these are expendable units that Oregon is using here because he has such a great economy.
Well, if you notice, okay, now he would ideally want to get that ult push cover, and that is like
I think he just gets it, right? Like,
well, he should. Okay, he's targeting it down. That's going to be killed off along with the drone. He's just trying to get anything else he can. He might get the Queen's Nest over here. Oh my God. Why is that not moving?
I think he's just started flabbergasting him a little bit, or, you know, he's getting a little flustered. He's not able to deal with this.
He's going to take out the Evo chamber. And that Zerg has been a little bit behind in upgrades because, again, he just didn't have another base that quickly. Looks like he wants to try to get this Lurker Hydralisk den. Can he actually get this?
There he goes, barely. The Queen's Nest will survive.
Okay, so taking that out, that's actually much more important than even getting the spawning pool.
He's going to get in a good angle over here to the north outside of that Lurker range, it looks like.
Now, I got to say, Oregon's kind of like hitting a wall a little bit with this because every time a Dark Swarm Cloud goes, like, well, I guess if it's Fire Bats under there, this is like pretty interesting. Oh, man.
He's going to kill everything. I really think this is starting to be a game here.
Yeah, that's it. That drop there with the Fire Bats, really interesting. So he just mass drops Fire Bats on top of the Lurkers. Super cool play there by Oregon. Wow.
Oh, he's shaking his hands, man. It's actually such a mechanically demanding game. You can see that in moments like these, your adrenaline is popping so much. Even though you're ahead in the game, you have to do everything right. And I like what you say. You say this a lot, but you're kind of penalized for being ahead sometimes in Brood War because the multitasking becomes harder. You're controlling more units, more dropships. If he's just his Scourge will just automatically kill your dropship, but you have to mic your dropship around the Scourge, get in the right position, you know, kill that drone lines, be scanning nonstop, because he's playing a vessel-less style with all these medevacs, so he's so reliant on scans.
It's pretty interesting. So he went for the battle cruisers, and that forced Zerg into an odd spot. But then he was just going mass dropship, which is not really that common. He's relying on Fire Bats to try to break the Lurker defense. That was a cool game.
Yeah, really enjoyed that one. That was fun. We even got to see a few BCs sneak in there.
It was also interesting. I believe he makes 4 Scourge and 2 Mutas to hit the battle cruiser. Like,
he was 1 Scourge off of killing that first one too. I mean, it almost worked.
Well, it's just funny because, you know, battle cruisers are not used that often in TVZ, but you can see that Larva saw it and was like, okay, this is what I need to one-shot a battle cruiser. But you touched upon this as well, Wolf, is the fact that he goes into dropships after battle cruisers. That seems super risky because he already made
forced
the
the Scourges, yeah.
Right? And now you're just flying in there and hoping that won't connect with the battle cruisers, but ultimately he did it. He was hitting the upper right and the bottom right, continuing to expand, and eventually Zerg fell apart.
Yeah, that very cool game there. Not your textbook game, not the one that you look at and say, this is how TVZ is normally played.
That's right. Anyways, congratulations to Oregon. He won another game here. We're going to go to a short break. When we return, our 3rd match in tonight's ASL, so don't go away.
Just wanna ask you, ever see that gal of mine? I rode the Central and I hustled the L&A. I rode the Central.
질서와 수호를 위해서라면
마귀의 화염이
누구도 나를 막을 순 없어. 방해하겠다면 전부 부숴주지.
기가 IoT 헬스. 올레 TV 켜고 퍼팅하고 바이크 타고 체지방 체크까지 실감나게 재밌다. 기가 IoT 헬스. 김지원의 KT.
메이플 스토리 2 신규 직업 스트라이커.
이거 좋은데?
봄꽃책에서 듣다. 있는 그대로 맑고 깨끗하게 피어나라고 겨울을 이겨낸 봄꽃이 내게 말했다. 맑고 깨끗한 칠성사이다.
답답할 때 마셔봐요 트로피카나. 상큼상큼 과일 듬뿍 스파클링.
리얼 프루트를 스파클링으로
과즙이 톡톡 쏜다. 트로피카나 스파클링.
미소가 생기다. 화사함이 생기다. 건강한 하루가 생기다.
pH 8.0과 풍부한 미네랄로 핑크빛 생기가 생기다. 아이시스 8.0.
이제 모두 핑크하세요.
스타일? 상쾌하면 되는 거야. 상쾌함의 높이가 다르다. Stylish Sparkling Water 롯데 트래비.
모바일 게임을 넘어선 액션 RPG 히트. 양 팀이 이제 정해졌는데 그냥 대결하면 좀 재미가 없으니까요. 탈락. 이선을 향해 쐈어요.
큐피트야 뭐가?
이 정도라면 4분 때 마무리 되나요? 자, 이거 3대1 기회 들어가는데요. 유저 전체에게 깃털 1000개를 선물로 드립니다.
타이밍이 지금인 것 같습니다. 그만한 게임이 지금 모바일 게임에는 없다고.
힘찬 행사로.
You chose the wrong side.
우리 올리브영에서 드디어 루이조를 변화시키기 위해 우리 아프리카와 함께 루이조 변화시키기 대장정이 들어갔어요. 이게 스타일 옴브 제품입니다. 피부 밝아지는 것 같은데? 와, 이름이 올리브영 클라스구나. 러머띠. 와우! 영국 스타일. 근데 멋있네. 나가면 번호 따일 것 같은데? 여기서 마무리할게요. 우리 제품은 올리브영 제품이었습니다.
KT와 아프리카TV가 함께하는 기가 콜라보 페스티벌. 강렬한 태양 아래 해운대 백사장에서 펼쳐지는 국내 최대 기가급 페스티벌. 기가 인터넷을 속도로 즐기는 e스포츠의 축제. 아프리카TV 인기 BJ가 총출동하는 KT 기가 레전드 매치 오버워치 BJ 리그. e스포츠의 성지 부산에서 펼쳐지는 KT 기가 레전드 매치. 폭풍저그 홍진호, 최종 경기 테란 이영호, 몽상과 프로토스 강민, 혁명과 프로토스 김태경. 다시 만나는 전설 속의 스타크래프트 영웅들. KT 기가 레전드 매치. 아프리카TV 인기 DJ들의 축하 공연까지 즐길 수 있는 올여름 최고의 기가급 페스티벌. KT와 아프리카TV가 함께하는 기가 콜라보 페스티벌에 여러분을 초대합니다. ASL.
So cool. All right, we got the big match of the night. It's here. TVT, Flash versus Mind.
Mind, another one of those players that was very successful in like the 2006, 2009, that period of time where Flash and Jada were dominating. But he was up there with those players doing very, very well as one of the kind of challenging Terran players to Flash's reign. And we'll see if he can take him out here. Flash was defeated by C just last week, but it was definitely on a stranger map, and it was a really interesting game. We'll see who takes this one. I'd say that Flash is still pretty much the clear favorite, but we'll see how well Mind does here, because upsets do happen. They've happened already several times in this tournament.
That's right. We're going to go on the classic current Brood War map, Fighting Spirit. If you've played any Brood War over the past few years, you were probably on this map. Here is our first player. It's Flash.
The big fan favorite here. He was able to defeat Zero, but he lost to C. His results just keep going and going and going. Winning the Baka StarLeague in 2008, the Ever StarLeague in 2009, the MSL in 2010, then the next big file, MSL in 2010, and also the ABC Mart MSL. It's like right when I came to Korea. I was able to see him win that live. A very, very successful StarCraft player. And even before that, I mean, this is only in individual leagues. His Pro League results were off the charts as well. This guy is a god of StarCraft 1 and is very famous and was decently successful in StarCraft 2. You always have to put like an asterisk next to that, because when you see his StarCraft 1 results next to his StarCraft 1 results, like the StarCraft 1 results, yeah, sorry, the StarCraft 1 results dwarf his StarCraft 2 accomplishments, but the StarCraft 2 accomplishments are still decent.
This is the greatest gamer that's ever lived, guys, and the hardest game that's ever been made. He has produced incredible results, but Mind has already beaten C in a TVT, which is very interesting. Now, he won in a bit of a dogfight early on, and it did not develop into the large-scale TVT that we oftentimes see in Brood War. TVT is a long, dramatic matchup if it gets to a certain point. I don't know who's going to take this. My hunch says Flash. Mind actually is in great shape. Mind has been very consistent in Brood War. He's a very bright player. We're just going to have to see, man. I mean, C actually out-muscled Flash in a really long game where basically literally every base on the map had been acquired. Let's see what happens on this map, though. This map is very tricky, especially in TVT. There's a lot of open territory in the middle. It can be a real war of attrition.
Sure. I cast the game with Flash and C with you, and I watched the game with Mind and C. It was actually on that new map, Overwatch. They were at horizontal spawns, and it was a kind of an early rush for Mind. He got so ahead early on that it was basically a free win after that. He didn't have to play the long game that Flash had to play versus C. So if you look at the results, you might go, well, C beat Flash, Mind beat C, so maybe Mind beats Flash. But I don't think it's going to be like that. I think Flash, in this stressful situation where both their tournament lives are on the line here, Flash has that star sense. He's played under the pressure before. He's the fan favorite. I think he's going to take this Tasteless, especially on this standard map here. Now we're going on to a weird, Overwatch map. It's a really new map.
Right.
This is like the oldest map in the pool. I mean, not really, but it feels that way, right? It's the one that everybody knows. And both players have played on it probably thousands of times.
Oh, absolutely they have. These two guys, two huge legends in the race Terran and Brood War. They got to fight now. Their tournament lives are on the line. Guys, tell your friends to join us. We are seeing two of the oldest legends in gaming duking it out here in 2016. Brood War. Now that the ASL is here, bringing old school esports back. Let's do this.
이영호, 박성균, ASL 시즌 1 16강.
Introducing our players down here, the most legendary gamer of all time. He is Flash. And in the upper right, in the purple, his opponent, also a legend from Brood War, Mind.
Here we go. This matchup all about positioning, control of certain zones, having good defense against run-bys and vultures and things of that nature. It's I'd say probably the mirror matchup that's closest to how it's played in StarCraft 2, except just take the Marines away, and it's all tanks, vultures.
It's slower paced and less forgiving. Actually, no, StarCraft 2 is pretty unforgiving. If you get in the wrong spot, everything just dies immediately. TVT is just kind of like that as well. In this, the thing is, you don't have medevacs to pick up the tanks and move them around. You can't really. He's gonna keep going.
He's going all the way.
Oh my God!
He's going all the way.
He's an animal.
After this, people are going to be inspired to make Bakari sweat drinking tournaments.
That's right.
He would be the champion.
Okay, so yeah, you don't have medevacs. I mean, yeah, you can pick up dropships with dropships in TVT, but you can't pick up a tank in siege mode. So a lot of this becomes a static defense. Whoa! Now, this may not mean a rush, guys. A lot of times in TVT, you make the barracks in the middle of the map and make 1 or 2 Marines, and then you lift the barracks off and scout with it. Because you don't make Marines, like we were mentioning earlier, the barracks doesn't have a lot of functionality to stay inside the base, right? You can clear up more room in your base, and you can use this thing like an overlord. You move around the map, and you scout, and you try to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah. So, I think you said, Flash, if you lose this game, I'm leaving Korea as a foreign fan there. We saw this similar type of barracks positioning from Mind versus C, and it worked out for him really well, and it gave him a lot of extra vision with those Marines, kind of poked with them, then followed up with a quick Vulture speed. We'll see if that happens here in this game as well.
He might actually spot this. Hold on.
Nearly.
No, he's not going to see it.
And the scout cross first.
It wouldn't have been as impactful if he did spot it, just because he wouldn't have had time to kill the SCV, but that's actually one way to lose TVT, like, really fast, is if you lose that worker.
Then you just can't make a factory.
Because exactly. You need a factory to make a barracks. So if you have to restart that, like, you were just so off tempo, it's horrible. So he's making a few more Marines flashes. Now, I think right now there's a tell for Mind. He sees that the Marine is already in the middle of the map. So he probably knows the barracks is out there. It really is a stylistic thing, in case you're wondering.
This is not a cheese, basically.
This is not a cheese at all. Yeah, because I know if you were watching StarCraft 2, you'd be like, oh, cheese. But it's a little bit different. Other players will play it a little bit safer and make some Marines back at home and make the barracks back at home and then just scout with it later on. So Flash doesn't actually know the starting location yet, so he's actually sending this SCV and the Marine out here. I believe, yes, he's lifted this now.
Yep, he's moving it now towards the incorrect location, but we'll probably re-rally that in a second. And, obviously, he loses Marine building time, but that's just not important, so there's not, like, that much of a trade-off. If this gets sniped later on versus a Wraith build, for example, that could be problematic, but it's just very unlikely. So there's not much risk involved here.
Well, a lot of times in TVT, you end up remaking that no matter what. Now, I think Mind is responding correctly. Mind's got some Vultures, which are quite good against Marines if they have backup. And he can actually use this unit to mow down a lot of the Marines here. And this actually could screw up Flash's position if he decides to come up here. Now, he's waiting. This was all very intentional. He's waiting for that SCV to come. He wants to kill that off, and then he's going to put the pressure on. I think.
It looks like that, right? I mean, Flash is trying to expand. This is something that Flash is known for, whereas he's up against a 2-factory build here from Mind. He's known for expanding and playing the greedier game because his control is so good, his decision-making is so good that another player might say there's no way you can pull this off, but Flash says, I can.
I got to say, I'm not a TVT guru, but I look at this, I almost like what Mind is doing a little bit better. If he can get in there and do a lot of damage, because the problem right now for Flash is he doesn't know if his opponent's got an expansion yet. Now, there's a barracks coming in here, but like 2-factory push against a guy who's lost all his Marines and is making 1 starport.
Very risky position here for Flash, yeah.
Yeah, I look at this and I'm like, well, you just got a tank, right?
So, also, let's see what happens to these machine stops. Only 1 researching right now. Probably going to be Vulture speed first, I'd expect, because that's what Mind already showed us versus C.
I'm actually not sure. I think he would get Mines. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. This game is still changing, but it could also be siege mode as well.
Yeah, if he gets 2 tanks, then it's definitely going to be siege mode.
Yeah, but Mines have a lot of viability here as well.
Yeah, 2 tanks come out. It's definitely going to be siege mode, I'd say. He's going to try to push with this. Now, the Wraith that Flash is making, obviously he can kill tanks, but it's going to take a long time. Like, it does air-to-ground damage very slowly.
So he might already have siege mode and be getting Mines here too, and Vulture speed. I'm not sure about this.
Let's see what happens.
Now, Flash knows.
As soon as he sees the barracks too, he's moving out with his SCVs. He wants to control the bridge. That's the most important part here. Okay, here comes the Marines up front. The Vulture's going to scout first.
Now he's going to start leapfrogging the tanks.
Okay, he should have mines in just a second here.
Okay, so he's getting very close here. Now Flash could lose this. Mine might just have a solid push.
Okay, the SCV gets taken out here. Now he's just going to leapfrog the tanks forward. He's rallying these Vultures across.
Oh, he's getting these Vultures shaved off here. He needs to back this up. Planting some mines. Remember, workers don't set off mines, but or Vultures set off mines, but everything else can.
Yeah, this Wraith here, as I said before, it just kills things very slowly. Flash does not have siege mode. Okay, no, I take it back. He does. He just finished it looks like. And he's just slowly edging forward here. The siege mode here for Flash is going to make it tough for him to move forward.
Mine has a critical position here because he can hit the command center. This really forces Flash to respond more quickly. Flash is hanging on barely here. Now he's going to come forward with these tanks. He's going to plant some mines, and this could be something that would destroy his tanks.
He targets on the mine. The first one goes down. The second one does not hit the tanks. And it looks like Flash is going to, for the time being, survive here. 2 Wraiths out will clean up the last of the tanks. He holds the CC.
Whoa.
And this is why Flash is one of the best players in the world.
Crazy. He actually had workers targeting down those mines. That's a lot easier said than done. And that's it.
GG types out.
Okay.
There you have it.
2
base versus 1.
In case you're confused as to why the other player tapped out, if Flash has another base up, especially Flash, with really any Terran, if you hold that push off, kill off the tanks, I mean, you're so ahead. And by the way, Flash was about to lose that. Had he lost his tanks, the Marines would have gunned down the Wraiths and everything else, and the flood of Vultures would have come, and it would have been too much for the Wraiths to deal with. But he did it. Mine lost that game. I got to say, I thought Mine did the right strategy against that, but Flash is just that good.
That's what I was saying. This is what Flash is famous for, is taking economically greedy builds and making them work. He knew it was coming. He scouted it early. He had vision of it early. He had those 3 tanks up. Yes, he was taking damage on his CC, but he was just able to stay alive long enough. And then he had those 2 Wraiths out, and that's the end of the story. There's not enough anti-air, and he kept his SCVs alive. 2 base versus 1. You outproduced the other Terran. It's game over. The Wraiths could have just flown across the map and won the game on themselves. There's no turrets there. There's no starport back at home for Mine.
Yeah, he might have had like Goliaths, but I mean, it's like he's still not going to get a base up in time.
난관을 뚫고 8강을
Let's get this translated for you guys.
경기 치르면서 약간 흔들리진 않았습니까? 강한 공격이 들어왔는데.
You almost lost that match back there. What are your
위치를 못
thoughts?
봐가지고 많이 말렸는데 그래서 설마
So I wasn't able to scout as quickly to figure out what he was doing early on.
빡세게 막을 준비하고 있었는데 다행히
I was super nervous in that game. Luckily, I was able to defend his attack.
예, 가장 큰 위기가 언제였습니까? 아까 그 과감하게 벌처와 탱크들이 몰려올 때 마인이 아주 좋은 위치에 딱 이렇게 매돌되는 걸 봤는데 일꾼이 잡더라고요.
아, 예, 제가 집중했던 컨트롤
you had a mine in the perfect place when the Vultures and the tanks were attacking you.
벌처로 마인 점사하고 HB로 마인 점사할 생각이었는데 그 턴이 잘 돼가지고 원래 못 막는 사이즈였는데 다행히 막을 수 있었던 것 같아요.
So when his initial attack came, my micro was really on point. So I was able to kill off his Vultures. That was really the key in holding that attack back there.
한 3승을 따낼 거라는 그 예측을 하셨던 분들도 많을 텐데 이 영우동 선수에겐 패배를 하면서 되게 아슬아슬했거든요.
A lot of fans expected you to go 3-0 in this group. You barely made it out, in fact.
준비를 너무 잘해와가지고 제가 매판에서
Yeah, I think C really prepared well against me.
사실 며칠 전에 중국도 갔다 오고 해가지고 좀 많이 걱정했는데 그래도 어제 오늘
I was actually in China a few days ago, so I was a little bit worried I didn't have enough time to put in the practice to win today.
완벽하게 준비할 수 있었던 것 같아요.
예, 와 그러면은 이영호 선수에게 궁금한 것 중에 하나가
But a lot of my Terran friends helped me practice for this match today, so I want to say thanks to them.
비해서 폼이 어느 정도 올라왔다라고 할 수 있습니까, 현재?
제가 사실 그때가 언젠지 너무 기억이 가물가물해가지고 현재는 스타트도 많이 했었고 그러다 보니까 그때 폼이 사실 기억이 안 나요.
I was previously playing a lot of StarCraft too, so I don't feel like I'm 100% where I should be in Brood War just yet.
매 경기 그래도 예전만큼 보여드릴 수 있을지 모르겠는데 그래도 최선을 다해서 항상 준비할 수
So I'm just trying my best right now to play like I did back when I was at the peak of my career.
예,
And I think I'm getting better and better.
제일 큰 난관이 16강이었으니까 이제 올라갔으니까 그래도 제 1차 목표가 제가 4년 만에 개인 리그 나온 거거든요. 그래서
So I
스타원 리그
actually
나온
expected the round of
거라서
16 to be the
8강이
toughest round.
목표였는데
Now that I've
올라갔으니까
advanced,
이제
I feel I'm going to branch
차근차근
further out into
한번
this
열심히
tournament.
해보도록 하겠습니다.
예, 개인 방송도 열심히 하고 계시죠? 이 개인 방송 어떻습니까? 느낌이.
아주 재밌고요.
So you've been doing a lot of streaming these days.
또 까는 사람도
Yeah,
많아가지고
honestly, I've been having a lot of fun streaming.
재밌는 것 같아요.
I know a lot of people have been watching my broadcast. It's sort of a new experience for me. I'm just trying to have fun in my own stream.
계속 발전하는
And I'm going to continue to be doing that.
예, 뭐 그런 분들도 있지만 이용호
Yeah,
선수의
check him out
방송을
on
사랑해주고
Africa
이용호
guys'
선수를
streams are quite a
응원해주는
bit.
분들이 있는데 그분들께 한 말씀 남겨주시고
Any final
저희가
comments to your
마치죠.
fans?
예, 제가 오늘도 굉장히 응원 많이 와주셔서 너무 감사하고 진짜.
So a lot of people showed up to the studio today to cheer for me. I'm really grateful. Thank you.
진짜 스타원 리그를 이렇게 다시
Also, I want to say thank you to the people that are watching over the internet.
That means you guys, Twitch chat.
쉽지 않겠지만
It's all because of the fans that support me that I'm still able to play Brood War right now.
우승하는 모습 꼭 보여드릴
I'm going to practice hard and
이렇게
advance to the
멋진
semifinals and ultimately the
경기와
finals.
이 재미있는 얘기를 해주신 이용호 선수와의 인터뷰였습니다. 자, 다음 8강에서 뵙죠. 예, 감사합니다.
See you in the round of 8. Yep, thank you.
What a
All right,
treat,
guys.
Tasteless.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets almost build countered, but he's flashed, so he survives, and that is the story of this player.
It's kind of funny because, you know, we're hyping him up, and obviously he does have, like, this unbelievable record, but then I saw the 2 factories against Command Center, and I'm kind of like, oh no, he's just going to lose. And then he actually holds it, which was pretty incredible. You know, we talk about hard countering, and that exists in any RTS game. And really the only way to stop a hard counter is with impeccable control of your units. And that's what we saw there. Even though Flash is mostly known for having a completely perfect macro in a game that's so mechanically demanding. I mean, you can't hotkey multiple buildings in Brood War. And so seeing somebody like Flash amass a huge maxed out army and a lot of times just swallow up his opponent, to see him actually win with finesse and just perfect control in a moment like that really highlights what a great player he is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw the mine targeting there. That was amazing. And
yeah,
it's just things like this where Flash is kind of like, no, I will CC first against you. I will hold anything. In this case, goes for an early CC versus that really aggressive build from mine. Like you said, a good choice, but ultimately, again, I mean, we can't overemphasize it. His control is just so good.
Execution's everything. We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, our final match of tonight's ASL. Stay tuned.
전부 부숴주지.
나는 KT 기가 인터넷. 당신과 끊김없이 게임을 즐기죠. 어디서나 우린 함께해요. 어때요? 나랑 콜라보 하실래요? 당신의 KT.
메이플 스토리 2 신규 직업 스트라이커.
이거 좋은데?
봄꽃책에서 듣다. 있는 그대로 맑고 깨끗하게 피어나라고 겨울을 이겨낸 봄꽃이 내게 말했다. 맑고 깨끗한 칠성사이다.
답답할 때 마셔봐요 트로피카나. 상큼상큼 과일 듬뿍 스파클링.
리얼 프루트를 스파클링으로
과즙이 톡톡 쏜다. 트로피카나 스파클링.
미소가 생기다. 화사함이 생기다. 건강한 하루가 생기다. pH 8.0과 풍부한 미네랄로 핑크빛 생기가 생기다. 아이시스 8.0. 이제 모두 핑크하세요. 스타일? 상쾌하면 되는 거야. 상쾌함의 높이가 다르다. Stylish Sparkling Water 롯데 트래비.
메신저의 혁신이죠. 이런 실시간 라이브 움짤 기능은 지금 스노우앱에서밖에 없죠. 굉장히 많은 팬분들이 영상 메시지와 메신저를 보내주고 계십니다. 아프리카 원탑 역캠답게 이설이라고 메시지가 왔는데 길 가다 만나지 마라. 길 가다 만나지 마라고. 느낌 있죠? 리본 하나 찬 다음에 딸랑딸랑 고양이 섹시합니다. 외쳐 스노우. 딸랑맛.
오호, 물로 지금 거의 뭐 수분을 그냥 갖다 들이붓는 것 같아요. 자, 바른 쪽과 안 바른 쪽입니다. 차이 보여드릴게요. 내가 발라봤는데 대표는 앞으로 그냥 나도 찍어 발라야 될 것 같아요. 잘 봐요. 자, 이렇게 깔끔하게 아래쪽만 다듬어도 선이 딱 살아있잖아요. 선 라인 자체가. 잠깐만. 이런 느낌이구나. 허허. 오늘 여러 가지 제품들 올리브영에서 제가 지금 제품을 받아서 사용을 해봤는데 굉장히 좋은 것 같아요. 올리브영 제품이 짱인 것 같습니다.
네, 아프리카 TV와 함께하는 킹덤 스토리 연애의 신.
이거 사극을 찍는 것 같아요.
정말 안 어울립니다. 약간 왜소하고.
맞아요. 위초고 삼국 대결.
장비! 나이스! 나이스!
나 심쿵했어.
17,800. 와, 군주는 무릎을 꿇을 수 있어요.
아 뭐야 이거 어떻게 먹은 건데? 저에게는 간호 장비 같은 존재입니다. 진짜 유익한 게임이니까 여러분들 진짜로 많이 해보셨으면 좋겠습니다.
올리브영 플러스 유소나 예뻐져라 뷰티 방송. 홈쇼핑 아닙니다. 첫 뷰티 방송 시작하겠습니다. 달콤한 꽃에 겹겹이 둘러싸인 듯. 여러분, 이 모든 제품들은 올리브영에서 살 수 있습니다. 새로운 네일 아트로 사랑을 표현할게요. 감사합니다. 고맙습니다. 세상에.
KT와 아프리카TV가 함께하는 기가 콜라보 페스티벌. 강렬한 태양 아래 해운대 백사장에서 펼쳐지는 국내 최대 기가급 페스티벌. 기가 인터넷의 속도로 즐기는 e스포츠의 축제. 아프리카TV 인기 BJ가 총출동하는 KT 기가 레전드 매치 오버워치 BJ 리그. e스포츠의 성지 부산에서 펼쳐지는 KT 기가 레전드 매치. 폭풍저그 홍진호, 최종 경기 테란 이영호, 몽상가 프로토스 강민, 혁명가 프로토스 김태경. 다시 만나는 전설 속의 스타크래프트 영웅들. KT 기가 레전드 매치. 아프리카TV 인기 DJ들의 축하 공연까지 즐길 수 있는 올여름 최고의 기가급 페스티벌. KT와 아프리카TV가 함께하는 기가 콜라보 페스티벌에 여러분을 초대합니다. ASL.
Welcome back to the ASL. We're going to go on to our final match tonight. It's going to be a Terran versus Protoss. This is always a fun matchup to cast. It's one of the matchups that really showed us in RTS that you can have something that operates so differently from the other matchups.
Yeah.
And still completely entertaining to watch. This is the matchup that spawned the concept of mech against another race.
Yeah, just having purely units that come out of the factory.
Right.
And sometimes the starport when you get your vessels out later on in the game and drop those EMPs. But this matchup, especially the early game, is pretty standardized at this point. You don't really see any remakes of what people were doing before. Like in 1,000 games, you see a bio push or something like that.
Yeah, that's actually true. Like every once in a while, there's a cheese Terran can do where they bio push. I don't know if we're ever going to cast one here at the ASL. Maybe.
Pretty unlikely.
Pretty unlikely. But mostly Terran players, they have to get the tank out, then they get the vultures, they start to try to control the map. Terran have to turtle really intensely. Now in StarCraft 1, you can turtle hardcore just with mech units, but eventually you're going to have to push out with that. Protoss operate a lot more like we would imagine Zerg to operate. They expand to other mains. They spread out their Dragoons and get pylons to defend. Use observers kind of like overlords to spot for everything.
Yeah, storms go down later on. It's kind of like the casting units that Zerg have in the late game.
Right.
Plagues, the Dark Swarm important to the position. So, basically the early game will oftentimes have one player in the lead, and then the player who's behind is going to have to then take risks. I mean, this is not a novel concept, right? But we'll just see how it plays out. It's very tough for either race to really attack into an entrenched position. Here is our Legends match. Again, this is going to be next Saturday
This
in
is going to
Busan.
be so sick! You got to get down to the Legends match. See it in person if you can. It's going to be in Busan on the beach. If you can't see it live, you can, of course, see it from home. That is going to be Saturday night, this upcoming Saturday. So definitely join us for that. We got Yellow, Flash, Bisu, and Nalra, and I can't wait to do that. Guys, get on the Brood War hype train. Brood War is coming back with English commentary. It had a dip when StarCraft 2 came out, and it is now on the rise again because companies like Afreeca are not just supporting StarCraft 2, but supporting StarCraft 1 as well.
Yeah, definitely do check it out and tell your friends. I know you guys are already doing this. See a massive resurgence of Brood War supporters and also StarCraft 2 people are like, oh my god, this is really amazing. So do spread the word.
Yeah, if you like StarCraft 1, obviously support StarCraft 2. If you like StarCraft 2, come check out StarCraft 1. These are the two best RTS games ever made. There's really no argument about that. And nothing else really comes close. Warcraft 3, of course, another great game, but that game's also a bit of a hybrid with a lot of RPG elements. StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2 are the RTSs that will survive the test of time.
Absolutely, they already have. Now, we're going to go into now this TVP, which is the last match of the round of 16.
That's right.
This is going to be the deciding final match to see where these two players end up with their final scores. Both of them not having the best runs here. You can see Mong is 0-2, losing to last, and Hero. And he was actually one of the favorites in this tournament to at least advance from groups, but just simply failed to do so.
Yeah, he's a very good player. I think he's just, we have so many good Terran players in this tournament. He's definitely a bit overshadowed, but he's one of the newer top Terrans that's out there. When you compare him to somebody like Flash or Mind, which are, essential fixtures in Brood War. Whenever you think of Brood War, those names are synonymous with it. But a lot of these guys who weren't succeeding back in, 2006, 2010 are having some success now. And we never have the same guys on top in any game, really. Yeah, it's always changing.
It almost never happens. Now, Best, one of the big fan favorites here, is also 0-2 in the group, but Best played StarCraft 2 for a little while at the beginning. Once Caspa switched over, he didn't find it to be as much to his liking, so he switched back to Brood War. But is a very famous Protoss player who's had pretty consistent results. Not always a champion, but he did actually get to the second place of the ever StarLeague in 2008. It's one with the famous intro with the cartoons running around. So that's something you may have seen on YouTube before. He nearly won that tournament. It was very close. And don't forget, in the history of Brood War, most of the time, especially once we got like 2006, 2007, Protoss players did not go to finals very often. So he's one of those to do so.
So I gave him 40% here. I think Mung could beat Best, but I think, and this is like one of my basic bro
predictions where I just think Best has had better results. He's had more experience in the booth or on the stage. So I'm putting him as the favorite here.
I'm slightly leaning towards Mong. I feel like his results in this tournament, yeah, he's 0-2, but I think he showed a little bit better games this tournament specifically than Best. But I do see your argument in that Best is more accomplished overall, which is why I couldn't give him like a much higher than 55. But the results here for everyone except one of our Korean commentators, Into the Rainbow, are pretty close.
Right.
You know, everyone's like, this could go either way for the most part in our predictions here. And I really do feel that it can.
Let's see what happens. This is the last match for tonight. ASL will resume on Sunday, but of course we have that special show match Saturday that you guys do not want to miss out on, the one in Busan. That'll be starting around the same time. That starts just 30 minutes later. This tournament starts at 7 o'clock Korean Standard Time. The show match at Busan is at 7:30. So if you guys want to watch more Brood War, it's Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. But for now, this is going to be the final match in the group stage. Group D, Hmong versus Best. Terran versus Protoss here at AfreecaTV. And yeah, we're going to get this going. Are you ready, Wolf?
I am ready, Tasteless. Let's do this. Circuit Breaker is the map.
All right, here we go. Guys, tell your friends to get out there, spread the word on the ASL, and tell them to join us here at AfreecaTV as we start out this match right now, our last one tonight, Hmong versus Best.
윤찬희, 도재호, ASL 시즌 1 16강.
Okay, over here in the blue, our Terran player, he is Hmong.
Stretching out, getting ready.
In the upper left, our Protoss player in the white, he's Best.
This is one of my favorite maps just because of the tile set, Tasteless. It's very clean. It's very pretty.
Oh, I got an interesting story for you then. We used to have snow maps in Brood War, but it was actually, it hurt the player's eyes.
It hurt my eyes when I played on them.
Yeah, it was like, it was too white, and it was a lot harder to see stuff that was warping in. It was like a little bit harder to see the Archons, and a lot of pro gamers complained, I think rightfully so. And they eventually did away with that title set. Oh, little
Bring
baby.
your baby down to Brood War.
Future pro gamer right there, little baby. So, yeah, we had a lot of pro gamers complain about that, and now we use title sets like this one. We use the jungle one, which is, I think most maps are on that, the foresty looking set. We have the kind of Planet Dune title set, which is all orange.
Yeah.
You know, the Mars looking one. What else? What else is there? Is that it?
I think we don't really use the Char tile set. I think that's called Badlands or something. I used to edit maps a while ago.
I don't think it's Badlands. I think it's something else. But yeah, like the Charred Earth one.
Yeah, that one's less popular.
I don't know why we don't use that though. I don't know if people ever complained about that. It might just become that some types of maps become more trendy, and then eventually they, you know.
I also think that some of the maps, like Circuit Breaker, for example, is just on this tile set, but it was one of the most popular maps. There's this one, Neo Circuit Breaker, but this map is just, it was one of the more popular ones, so I'm not just going to change the tile set on it, right? So some of the more popular maps, their tile set just kind of permeates. I'm trying to think of like the Char tile set maps that we ever had, but none of them really come to mind. It's not as famous.
I'm horrible with map names, StarCraft 1 or StarCraft 2. Like if I look at a picture, I'm like, okay, yeah, this one. But the ones they were using back then were some of the older ones. So, getting into this game, it looks like we're going to have synchronized scouting, although I believe Protoss is scouting in cross spots, and so is Terran. So, there's been all sorts, Terran scouting in cross spots, and Protoss is scouting in the top right.
Well, until the probe turns, it's impossible to know, so all is forgiven, Tasteless.
Yeah, the pathing's a little bit trickier in this. The units skate around and then like re-identify as they move, and to a certain point, it'll point it back in another direction, but it can be a little bit deceiving. So, good build that Hmong is doing. If you ever want to copy a build, this is one to do. He has one SCV mine gas until, or I think he has 3 SCVs mine gas until he gets the factory made, and then he sends that SCV back.
Actually, wants to get a faster CC.
Yeah, he wants to get the command center while just barely eking out a factory.
And
he's even going to do this with just one Marine. He's been pretty greedy.
Yeah, well, he can. It's usually fine. I think Protosses are less inclined to Dragoon Rush. Now, we see one probe on gas, which tells me he's probably going to try to make a Nexus right away. And Protosses have also experimented with taking things off and on gas. This was something that was sorted out like a lot later on in Brood War. I know it's pretty standard to see it in StarCraft 2, but you got to realize how deep you had to get in the game before people were super tailoring builds like this. And there's that command center, not on the low ground, which is a wise decision. You can auto lose if you make it on the low ground and get rushed. So he gets one Vulture out here. Now that is a little bit less common, but because rushing's so unlikely, he wants to try to get out on the map, and he might be able to catch the scouting probe here. What Protoss is trying to do is catch this SCV.
Oh, he turns around.
Yeah.
Which works out for him here in this case.
Yeah, that was a good move. So it's very important you catch the worker early on. There's always a little mini game going on because, you know, unlike in, for instance, StarCraft 2, a lot of times if you see the worker, you're going to kill it unless they're just really good at getting away. And this is so smart. Look at what he did. He baited him out, and he's going to send the Vulture right up here.
Might get some kills too, but I mean, he sees the Nexus. Let's see how many kills he can grab here.
Oh, he should be able to get a lot.
Probably like 4.
Oh, well, Wolf, we just don't know, man. He might be able to get 8 or something. I mean, until the Dragoons get up here, if he controls this right, he can get just a ton. So the Dragoon obviously can always beat the Vulture, but the Vulture is faster.
And the Vulture may escape here. The second Dragoon is going to pressure, so he just gets out.
That was like, and this is what you gotta love about a game when it's this old, is there are these like little plays that are happening early that are so technical. Like he just saw that the SCV was getting away and said, okay, I actually, you know what, I can run in here with this Vulture. He's not going to expect this.
Yeah, Taste, I got to ask you a question because the second Dragoon went to the one that wasn't defending went to the top right. Was he looking for a hidden CC there? Because that kind of confuses me why he would send that up to the top right.
Some people can hide command centers exactly at this point in the game. It's not as common. Now, I wasn't watching the mini-map, so it's possible he had not killed the SCV there. It's actually worth it to send your Dragoon all the way across the map if you can kill that hidden SCV, because Terran spent a lot of time trying to scout how many bases the Protoss have, and Protoss can kind of expand almost anywhere, and it's justifiable.
Yeah, you're right. Look, there's this 2 kills, so I just want to confirm there. So he killed the SCV.
Yeah, so that's why he did it. But I mean, if he found a hidden command center, that would be huge. I think if he had a hidden command center up there, he would have actually let the SCV die and like faked it like it got stuck.
Sure.
And even that Vulture that was out there, that's also to try to monitor expansions. He knows that the center left is probably where Protoss will try to expand, so he plants some mines there to add a little bit more difficulty.
Okay, well, you know, both players have secured their expansions now. We'll see what comes up next because he does have a robot but no observatory or the bay, so it's probably just going to be we'll just have to wait a little bit longer here to see what he's going to choose. A shuttle this early wouldn't be too effective without any other tag. The Vultures are moving across the map, and it is going to be, it looks like Wraith play here.
I think he might only get the shuttle if he's going to get Reavers, but I think what he was going to do is just make observers and then just try to use this to get rid of mines. You see how Terrence laying these mines out here? This is really scary for Protoss, right?
Okay, he does have an observatory. Sorry, I didn't see it.
Yeah, he wants to. Now, I can't believe he got that. That's actually like RNG right there. Sometimes you can actually shoot that down before it hits you, but you don't want to let your Dragoons get bruised, because Protoss players who are not that good have their Dragoons getting bruised all the time, and then when the big fight happens, it's like many siege tank shots less for them to get hit. So he's going to try to do, I believe it's a Vulture drop up here at the top, and this is something Protosses always have to be wary of, because they have a limited number of Dragoons to cover a large space, and Vultures are much quicker. That's even why that pylon's up there, by the way, to try to spot for something like this.
Okay, here it comes, and he's got a great tight wall with the Dragoons at the natural, but not in the main base here. All 4 Vultures will get out. He sees it now with the pylon to the top right. Well, let's see how well he can defend. Looks like he's going to split 2 to the bottom here and place those mines.
He needs to evacuate this. He's actually sacking some of the Dragoon HP to try to soak up some of those mine hits. Now, I got to say, I thought this was going to do a little bit more damage than this.
But he hits the natural at the same time. 4 mines planted here.
Now, he's actually going to be able to kill both these Vultures pretty easily because the probe's got a good block off there. This is pretty tough for Protoss, but Terran also has to be careful because he's throwing away Vultures. Generally, you're not killing Dragoons when you're doing this. You're slowing down their movement, so you're going to have less Vultures later on. One little side note, by the way, for the viewers, you can super saturate
at mineral patches. So you can like have a lot more SCVs or probes mining at an expansion than you could in StarCraft 2. So, you know, it's very important because they do what's called the Maynard exchange, where they transfer probes or it's SCVs after the oversaturated patches. You can have like 3.2 number of workers mining or something and still basically be mining optimally from a base. So taking out a lot of workers early is pretty helpful, but it's always a balancing act between the workers and the army.
Yeah. All right, well, this base over here is still somewhat exposed. He has a few Dragoons to the top. This is a gasless base, by the way, which is something that doesn't exist in StarCraft 2, really.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because that might be very alien to the StarCraft 2 viewers, but gasless bases are totally okay in Brood War because minerals, there's a lot more, it's a little bit more mineral intensive. Obviously gas is very important, but gas bases are usually locations that are a little bit riskier to take. There's no gold bases in this, although I guess you could theoretically make bases with gold minerals with the map editor, but we'll have to see, you know, where the game goes. Terran's also taking the mineral only. Usually on a StarCraft map, there's a third base that's easy to take that's mineral only and a third base that's like harder to take that's gas.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, the gas base as your third is almost like the gold base. Obviously, it doesn't give you gold minerals, but it's that extra value that you get. It gives you more resources to make tech. Like without a third gas base here, it's very difficult to say. Like for example, go carriers at this point. Hard to transition into something like that. He does get the Arbiter Tribunal up while still pumping out a ton of gateway units on these gates. His drop coming to the left side, I believe, is a 2-tank drop. Man, we'll see what he can get done with it here. There's no defense whatsoever.
Yeah, actually, you might be right. It might be vultures too. You got to be careful if you use the tanks to drop, because if you lose those, that's pretty bad. You know, every tank is so important for Terran. A lot of times, if Protoss gets in a fight in the early mid-game and just kills like all the tanks and the Terran has to go back, the Protoss can almost always seize the entire map. So he's doing it. He's hitting here while the fourth base is over here.
Oh,
now the splash
so much damage.
That's already 2 kills, and he's going to get at least another one. But he is going to sack a tank for this.
Yep, and he's going to drop the other one here in the main base. But because of the defense, I don't even think he can siege that. Okay, he's going to try to and get one shot.
To pull the probes.
Okay, doesn't get it off.
He didn't target it.
Dragoon instead, yep.
Okay, this makes me a little bit more worried for Mung, because that wasn't, you know, because you can have so many workers mining at the mineral patches, you can end up hitting and killing like 8 probes or something crazy. But Best is taking a 4th base. Now, if I were Best, and it would really depend, you know, on how Best wants to do this, but it would not be unwise to try to take the center-left expansion. Now, note that Best has enough bases, and with this mineral only, it's okay to make a cannon, for instance, because you just end up with a lot of minerals.
Yep.
He's just going to try to hold off as much of the vulture harass as humanly possible.
He's just weathering the storm here, basically.
Right.
And he's starting to, you know, we talk about this all the time in StarCraft 2, but it's a thing in StarCraft 1 as well, is if you overdrop or you over-harass and you start to get diminishing returns off that, suddenly the defending player starts to have a large enough army to where they can attack and pressure you. And this is going to be happening right around the time that first Arbiter comes out as well.
Yeah, I like what you were putting out there, Wolf. I mean, you look like TVZ in StarCraft 2, and it's like medevacs with Marines. Sometimes that does an incredible amount of damage, but sometimes they just lose the medevacs and the Marines, and it's like, all right, man, have fun trying to push.
Okay, he's going to be careful here. There's no observer. And okay, no, there is observer. There is. Okay, that was scary for a second. Still, several Dragoons go down. That's never a position the Dragoons want to be in where mines are planted right directly underneath them. But I mean, he had the observer, but even still, was not able to protect those Dragoons there, so a good trade for Mong. That was a nice move.
So, Best is actually, I'd say, ahead, not by very much, as far as holding off this harass. Like, there hasn't been like an insane amount of probes killed off, but Mong, it looks like he's gearing up for this 3-base push. Protoss is going to have Arbiters, yes. Terran may have 1 science vessel with this, but, you know, 1 Arbiter, that's helpful if you can dodge the scans. It's going to be up to Protoss right now to take the 5th base. Protoss is really saying to Terran, deal with it. This is your problem.
Yeah.
I don't have to attack you. I'm Protoss. I'm just going to keep gobbling up the bases on the map, and you're eventually going to have to push out. Terran have always, in any version of StarCraft, had a harder time taking bases the further out on the map they get.
Yeah, it's tough to defend run-bys, shuttle drops, in this case recalls even.
Sure, yeah.
In StarCraft 2, in the current iteration, a recall is only a defensive ability that can be sent to your next side, but in this, you can have multiple Arbiters recall multiple places, and the army that you recall will go to where the Arbiter is, just like in Wings of Liberty, the Mothership, so it functions the same way. But in StarCraft 1, when that happens, you have cloaked units in your main base, and it's very difficult to defend.
So Mung's upgraded pretty steadily here. We see he's got the 2 armories. He may push out when he's at 3 attack, 2 armor. Now, what Protoss is doing, you can see Protoss moves out in the middle of the map. So Protoss has deemed it that the harass phase is not as important. He can make cannons back at home to defend that. So what he wants to do, now I don't believe he's going to attack into this. I think that would be
suicide, practically.
That would be suicide. And I think
he's going to recall, I think. Look at that Arbiter moving across at this angle.
Gosh, if he actually attacks in here, I'm going to be pretty surprised.
I don't think he will.
And I think I said Terran was on 3 bases. Excuse me, guys. He was on 4. I don't know why.
He took the 4th like right while you were saying that, though.
Okay, all right, because I just glanced again at the minimap, and I'm like, oh, what?
Oh, look at these turrets designed to stop shuttle drops as well as recalls.
Yeah, these guys are both playing a really solid. Now, is he actually going to do this? I think this is potentially unwise, but let's see.
Is he going to go for it? There it is.
All
There's
right,
the recall, and it goes off. That's a ton of charged Zealots here. I say charged, but they have the leg upgrade, which allows them to move faster, close the distance on these, and drag mines into the vultures.
You know, this is best really showing he can crack a mech. Terran here, so he's actually kicked in the front door with his army while taking his 5th base.
And he's going to kill this command center most likely.
Well, let's see if the siege tanks siege up. I think he might have to back off, but he is targeting down.
He's targeting that CC, and I think he's going to get it. The Zealots tanking the damage here.
He's going to get it.
He gets it. He might get more than that. Going to target down more siege tanks here. Needs to back off now and regroup.
That was really impressive. I feel like Terran might have been able to save that, but you can see there was so much happening. He actually sniped this command center and got out. Now, I can't emphasize how hard that is to do, to set up, but he just did it, man.
Yeah, massive mine drags onto the vultures as well. The vultures took a ton of friendly fire there from the spider mines. And he had 3 observers at the front of all the locations where Mong could be moving out, so he had full understanding that the Terran was not counterattacking him at the same time. Very calculated move here, and he just sacrifices the Arbiter for the recall we were talking about before.
That was pretty crazy. Some Protoss players look up for stasis there and try to stay back, but he actually just did that. Now, he took the center left while he was doing that, and he's taken the bottom left. He's got gateways and cannons and a Nexus coming up over there. Now,
is he just going to do this again? Does he have enough?
No. He might actually
He's baiting it, maybe?
He's trying to fly into the main is what it is. Now, he doesn't have enough energy, though. I don't understand.
I think he does have enough energy.
No, he's got...
That's his shields. There he goes. It's a Dragoon recall this time with some Zealot support.
That was like my StarCraft 2 casting. I'm like, no, he doesn't have the mana. But no, you're totally right. So he can actually
if he kills the detection, then scans can't come down. It's a lot hard to kill this. One Science Vessel already flew away. The second one in good position, at least here on the right side.
Now, I'm a little bit surprised by that, but let's see. What he's also doing at the same time is he's going to attack down here. He's trying to punish the location of the siege tanks.
Look at these depot walls coming up as well, going to help protect these siege tanks, and there's only Dragoons here, so can't break this. But here comes
he might try to stasis over here. He might also try to recall. There's actually 2 ways to skin this cat. And it's going to be stasis. So those tanks under the crystals can attack, but they can't be damaged. But that means that the Protoss army can then march in on this territory.
They're basically removed from play. It's almost like a vortex in StarCraft 2 if you watch from the beginning, and they just can't be used for a few seconds. So this is just starting to become too much damage.
He's forcing back the command center, and actually he might be able to pick this off. I don't see SCVs repairing this.
Nope, nobody nearby.
He's going to get this. Look at this. It goes down.
Yep, and look how long stasis lasts here. It's no joke. It's going to wear off here very shortly, but these Dragoons, several of them will even escape, which is crazy.
Okay, so he backs out. This is really like a muscle Protoss coming in here. He's actually like warping in all over the place. He's basically making it so that Terran can't move out on the map. Now, Terran has held this off and survived this, so Terran immediately has to try to seesaw the game back in his favor. So he's going to try to push out. Now, remember, you can only have 12 units in a control group as any race. So while Protoss is trying to bind those keys, the already hotkey Terran units are going to try to move out here. And they're going to try to fight head on.
Good EMP. That means no stasis available here for this fight. He has to back off. The second Arbiter may be close to enough energy, but I think they both just spawned recently. So it's tough to engage this here. He has the threat of a recall with that Arbiter from earlier still alive down there. It's something that Mong did not see. But it's going to be tough to recall right now while he's defending. Those units need to be at home. The vessel's still alive here. He's looking for the stasis on these tanks.
Okay,
There's
there
the
it
first
is.
one.
That was a very good stasis, but it's not clear if this is going to be enough.
I don't think it will be, even with the stasis here. There's so many mines.
Yeah, and the fact that he has vision over this, now you notice he's being very careful with that vessel. Oh, vessel's on hold position here. Okay, he drives that back. Now there's a whole other story going on in this game, and it's at the bottom left side of the map. If Protoss can secure a main and keep Terran from getting over there, it becomes incredibly difficult for Terran to punish that. So Protoss, it seems so far, has diverted the attention from the bottom left, especially because Terran's scrambling to reclaim the bottom center. However, Terran is pushing and gaining a lot of ground over here. Now, the Terran push is slower but deals more damage. The Protoss army is always more nimble, but of course, a lot of times
tough the positions as well.
Right, exactly. So the Protoss tries to scramble to outposition the Terran, while the Terran tries to circumvent the Protoss's movement on the map with mines and things like that.
One of my big concerns here, Tasis, is that Arbiter that's still alive at the main base of Mong. If there's ever a moment where the Frost feels safe, he's going to recall there, and that's a big issue.
Yeah, you're totally correct. In fact, even that army that's fighting that expansion in the center right, let's say that gets cornered, when vultures and tanks get over there, he could actually just recall with that Arbiter, and that's going to be a huge headache for Mung in this game. Now, Mung, though, he might be going for the killing blow here.
He wants to choke the Protoss out.
Protoss has to recall here.
This
right?
vessel is very low. Looks like he's maybe setting up for recall.
There it is.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. See, just leaving an Arbiter alive like this can cost you big. Now, this is all the production is camped here. And anyone that comes out is going to die.
Now, we got to remember that Protoss have like a limited number, Terran have a limited number of scans and ways to detect, so he can keep freezing.
Oh, nice stasis here.
Very good. He's going to try to come up here. Now, does Protoss have enough? Also, the fact that Protoss has the bottom left means he still has resources, he can farm from.
Oh, he could recall the rest of the units back to here as well and surround this army if that has enough energy.
That's it. GG. Okay, very technical win there.
Scary moments in that game for sure, but recall is the winning ability here tonight. He also had some great stasis there to remove half the tanks from the battle.
It's a tough situation for Terran, but Protoss has to do it very delicately. So what Protoss want to do, what Terran wants to do to try to stop that is you need to get the EMPs up, hit the Arbiters. They don't have the energy to do the recalls, and then pick your fights accordingly. Now, the fact that he left an Arbiter unattended, in the main there, that gave Vess an opening to easily surprise his opponent with a big warp in there. Terran had committed too much. If that Arbiter was not there, there's a high chance that Monk could have won that. Because once you get on top of those production facilities and your entire army is on the other side of the map, and that's a mech army, it's not mobile. The moment you get that recall off, it is, you're just going to kill everything that pops out of the factories. Just like StarCraft 2. I think someone just walked in front of the camera.
Yeah, I think it was best, actually.
Just like in StarCraft 2, if you stand over the Terran's production and you're there for like 20 seconds, everything that pops out just immediately gets gunned down, right?
And then suddenly your head's cut off and you can't do anything.
Yeah.
If you don't win the game with your push, which is going to be impossible to do when you've got 4 Arbiters stasising all your tanks.
Yeah, stasis, you're going to lose a scan, for instance. They can take out your scanner.
And even like
Even without the Arbiters, you can make 1 or 2 DTs, and they might not have enough to hold that off.
The Arbiters that were on top of that army, too, could recall the army that's killing the production back if it's an emergency situation and needs to bring those army units back to defend, then he can do that as well. You can kind of, you can recall to the main, then take another Arbiter and recall that same army back to defend. So
when Protoss gets a critical number of Arbiters, by the way, that's the only way to deal with a mech army as Terran. That or you've gone for carriers, for instance. You can last on storms maybe for a little bit, but you either need one of those 2 critical techs or Protoss just wouldn't be able to beat the Terran. And ultimately, just like we see with the Defiler and the Science Vessel, the fact that those 2 units have to interact, and of course Zerg has the Scourge to hit the Science Vessel to knock it out, but then the Terran have the Marines to fall back on.
Sure.
There's like this mini game that you see played back and forth, and it's the same with Arbiters versus the Science Vessel.
Yeah,
so,
it's kind of like, I think the thing you compare it most to in StarCraft 2 is going to sound weird is for the Arbiter is kind of like the Nidus Worm for the Zerg versus Mech. You kind of just out-position the Terran. You sneak into the back door. Much harder to counter. But again, if you kill the Arbiter before it can go ahead and use its recall, that's kind of the way to stop it. Whereas, in StarCraft 2, you just kill the Nidus as it's making.
So that's the late game there for that matchup. That was a very standard PVT. By the way, props for best. Oh, hold on, we got the interview here.
해주세요.
오늘 뭐 탈락 상태에서 게임에서 약간 아쉽긴 한데 다음 시즌 제가 우승합니다. 기다리세요.
So I was able to play comfortably because I was already eliminated for this season. But next season, watch, I'm going to become the champion.
이용호, 김성현 다 잡고
He literally tried to leave and they like grabbed him and brought him
벌칙
back.
하나 걸고 가시죠.
그러니까요.
네.
뭘로 할까요?
He says I'm going to be Bisu Flash. Everybody else, I'm going to become the champion for next season.
일단 예선부터 뜰게요.
예, 그러니까 생각해 보니까 예선을 뚫을지 말지 아직도 이제
But first, I guess I got to qualify for this
누가
tournament.
누구를 꺾겠다라는 건지 모르겠지만 그래도 이번 시즌에 그나마도 가장 아쉬운 점이 있다면 어떤 선수와의 대결이 가장 아쉬웠습니까?
저는 개인적으로
So what was your
일장이랑
biggest
했을
disappointment for
때
this season?
일단 처음에 유리했는데
구경꾼 같은데요 뒤에서 그러니까
유리했는데
편안하게 해서 괜찮아요.
역전당해서
So my first match, I had the advantage, but I just screwed up and lost.
다음 경기 또
And that was the most disappointing match for me.
김성현 선수와의 대결은 어땠습니까?
그거는 솔직히 말해서 제가 예상을 못했어요. 성현이가 그런 걸 할 거라고 생각을 못해가지고.
How about your second match?
그런 짓을 할 줄.
뭔가 좀
Honestly, I didn't expect that in my second game. That's not the one that was broadcasted today, guys. That was
몽이 한번
earlier.
두루치기 만들면서 이겨가지고.
Anyways, I was able to win in my last match, so that
머리
felt good.
위에다가 그 아비토 리콜 쏟아 부으면서 아주 잔뜩 그 창고가 털리지 않기 위해서 대문을 꼭 이렇게 잠근 윤찬희 선수의 창고를 털어내면서 결국 승리를 거뒀잖아요. 네, 그래서 이제 만약에 그러면 다음 시즌에 김성현 만나면
So you used the recall with the arbiter.
한번 선전포고 한번 해주시죠.
성현아.
And you were able to break through the defense. Tell us about that.
내가 전진게이트 한다. 조심해라.
네, 알겠습니다.
무조건 하셔야 됩니다. 약속입니다.
전진 게이트로 지면은 어떻게 하려고요?
Next game, I'm going to do some cheese. So look forward to that.
죽을 때까지.
그리고 이용호 선수를 만나고 싶어 했잖아요.
그러니까요. 이용호 선수는 올라갔는데.
So you wanted to play against Flash.
지금 집에
선물 받고 지금 가고
And Flash made it up to the round of 8. How do you feel?
한마디 해주신다.
용호가 저 만났으면 탈락했을 텐데.
그렇죠.
아쉽네요.
If he was in my group,
그럼 이
then
자리에서
he would have been eliminated.
한번 해주세요. 만나서 한번.
But I guess he got lucky this
선전포고
time.
해주세요. 비록 8강은 못 갔지만 선전포고를 할 수 있잖아요.
일단 이번 시즌 우승하고 다음 시즌 내가 우승자 징크스 만들어줄게, 영호야.
I hope you become the champion this time, Flash.
오늘 진짜 고생하셨고.
But next season, I'm looking to you, so watch out.
아니 윤찬 선수 와야죠.
도정만 선수가 아니 1승을 했다.
못 쓰겠다고 선수 아닙니까? 못 쓰겠다고.
아니
8강 못 올라간 거 다 똑같아요.
다 똑같아. 같이 떨어져요. 마이크 하면 되네. 공장이 불탔어요. 공장이.
야 이거 보세요.
They literally like formed the Great Wall of Africa to stop these players from leaving to get them interviews.
경기를 통해서 그 식사를
So your command center burned down. Why didn't you repair that back there?
고칼로리.
그게 또 사실인지 그리고 이제 전체적으로 ASL
He's like really disappointed. Like, well, you Brewer's hard, but you still didn't repair that. What's up with that?
너무 아쉽고요.
Even though you're knocked out, tell us how you feel.
좀
So I'm actually
많이
pretty
떨었던 것 같아요,
disappointed.
이번 대회 때는.
긴장을 많이 했다.
네, 제가
I
경기
think I
때마다
just
저는
had
이제
issues with my nerves on
무대
stage.
경험이 없다 보니까 챙겨보는데
I don't have a lot of experience in like big stage matches like this.
김성춘이
망했냐니 전했냐니 이러니까 게임하면서 자꾸 그 생각 나가지고.
I think the Korean casters have cursed me a lot.
칩스 얘기 한 마디 못했습니다.
허니앤칩이에요.
아이고 그 실제로
all your negative comments they just stuck in my head.
사업체는 없어졌으니까
And that didn't help me perform.
정도로 말을 안 꺼냈는데 제가 일러 바치는 게 아니라요. 임성춘이 말을 제일 많이 했어요. 예 한마디 해주시죠.
해보세요.
같이 망한 사람들이
He's asking which caster made you the most nervous, and he says it's the one on the left side, our left here.
아 평소엔 저 욕했다는 얘기죠? 아 이게 같이 망한 사람끼리는 서로
He says I'm sitting right next to me, so I can't say anything to him right now.
This is Into the Rainbow, by the way, an ex-pro and a Zubu coach for StarCraft 2, briefly.
저를 이렇게 좀 이렇게 많이 칭찬해 주시고 잘한 플레이는 또 잘한 대로 또 이렇게 좀
포기하지 마시고 장사는 언제
But I hope you say some positive things that might come back next time around.
시청자 광고 그냥 가겠습니다.
뭐든 어떤 사업이든 시작하시면은
사업 계획하시면 바로 가겠습니다.
예, 저희한테 이제 맡겨주세요. 예, 저희가 이제
진짜 그냥 마린 사업만 하려고요. 진짜로.
마린 사업만.
이 사업은 진짜 아무나 하는 게 아닙니다.
그렇죠. 예, 이 사람도 잘 알고 있습니다.
하지만 다음에 또 그런 거창한 사업을 하신다면 제가 홍보 모델로 무료로 한번 해드리겠습니다.
아주 최단 기간 망할 것 같은데.
They're talking about a business that he's doing.
화장품 사업 어때요?
이거 피부를 보세요. 화장품 사업이 되라. 이 사람이 본인 피부가 지금 저런데.
They said we're really hoping your business goes well until you appear in the next tournament
다음
for
시즌에
ASL.
도재욱 선수를 어디선가 만나면은 어떻게 끊어주겠다라는 선전포로 마무리하도록 하죠.
근데 솔직히 제가 진짜 할 만했는데 재욱이 형 저 게임할 때 좀 약간 떠시더라고요. 근데 6시 리콜 올 때 제가 더 떨어서 좀 진 것 같은데 다음에 만나면은 진짜 꼭 복수하겠습니다. 근데 제가 프로 은퇴하기 전
So he's
마지막
saying, anyways, I want my revenge against
재욱이
Best.
형한테 당한 적이 있었거든요.
그래요? 나쁜
그래서
사람이네.
경기
He's super
전에도
pissed
한번
about the recall
상기시켜가지고
that happened. I believe that's the one that broke the chance.
네, 당신 얘기하고
He's even
있는데.
pointing at him. There he is on
There he
camera.
is.
He's pointing at him, calling him out
Scumbag
literally.
Protoss.
더 좋은 경기력으로 보답할 수 있도록 노력 많이 하겠습니다.
알겠습니다.
So
예,
he
감사합니다.
says,
오늘
next season I
수고하셨고요.
promise I'm going to be a better player and I'm going to perform better. I mean, that is going to do it for the interview. You know what? This is the thing. So we have a lot of these players who don't have, even though this game is like old and it's been played for a long time, you still have players that have not had the experience to be in a big match like this where they're on TV or it's streamed on the internet. And Mung is one of those players. He's not used to this kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Even somebody like Flash, unfazed.
Exactly.
C, unfazed.
But you see, he says, like, okay, I lost. I'm disappointed. He calls Best out, like, I'll see you next season, because he knows now that this is growing and this is, like, we're having a big resurgence of Brood War and Korea. This isn't, like, no joke, guys. So because this game is growing so quickly, he has so much to train for, and there's so much to live for. Even though before Brood War started rising, and maybe he was just kind of playing in his spare time, practicing with some old pros. Now he's like, okay, this is a real tournament. I'm going to train really hard. He's going to be much more prepared because he played against a fan favorite in a huge crowd today. So he had so much pressure on him, but now he's experienced that. He's ready for the next time.
It's interesting because, I mean, I don't know the exact number that the studio holds, but it was full of humans watching. And as far as, you know, if you combine the viewership and all the different languages we do this in, it's actually very big. There's a lot of people watching this. We're still building the English stream here, but this is a very popular game in South Korea. So that's a lot of pressure to deal with.
Absolutely.
Right?
Tons of people viewing online as well. It's not just here in the studio. That's the scarier part, though, is when you look around your monitor and you see a sea of people in front of you.
Oh, and also it's interesting because he was not that comfortable with the scrutiny of the casters, which, of course, is sort of the nature of having a match here. Is, you know, it's not a feel-good fest. We're here to talk about what people did right, what people did wrong.
Mistakes get made.
Mistakes are made, but that's something that requires, you know, more time on a stage, more time competing to really get used to before you can kind of handle that sort of pressure. So this is going to be interesting to see how he develops as season after season after season
Yeah,
of the ASL
Best is
unfolds.
the big fan favorite. You know, he's got the whole crowd rooting for him. He's a Pro League star. He's a monster. And it's tough to play against a player of that caliber.
This is par for the course for Best. Best has been around for a long time. So he's definitely, it's something he's used to.
Well, here are our results today. Eyewater, a.k.a. Shuttle, takes out Free. Oregon is able to defeat Larva Flash with that awesome hold versus Mind. And then Best will defeat Mong in our final game with those recalls. So we will have the final round of 8 here. Players from groups. We have Sock, Shuttle, C, Flash, Last, and Hero. Those 6 players will advance.
4 Terrans, a Protoss, and a Zerg here. And we still don't know yet for Group B. Looks like that's going to have to be some kind of tiebreaker match there.
That's right, yeah.
I didn't see. What were the other races in there? Did you catch that?
No, I didn't see.
I could check after, but I'm just curious because it looks like this might be a pretty Terran-heavy ASL this time around. So, guys, don't get out there and go, Terran OP! Remember, this has been the most balanced game of all time. It's lasted the ages, so who knows? We might not have a Terran player in the... Okay, so here's
the tiebreakers. Okay, so we weren't sure how this was going to pan out exactly, but the Group B tiebreakers, it's a tie between Jaehoon Sharp and Oregon.
I don't know if Jaehoon's going to get out of there. We'll see.
It's going to be tough. His PVT, not his best matchup for sure.
So, yeah, we're going to see exactly where this all goes from here, but definitely stay with us at the ASL, and there's going to be many more tournaments like this coming up here. So get out there, spread the word, let people know that it's not just the GSL Code S, it's also the ASL. We're supporting all StarCraft. We're taking over the entire market for RTS, and we hope you guys continue to join us as we move forward.
Definitely do that, guys. Both StarCrafts are amazing, best RTS games, and
best RTS franchise ever.
We got to pull each other together here. Pull people from StarCraft 2 to Brood War, pull Brood War people to StarCraft 2. That's what we want to do.
Get under the big StarCraft family umbrella. That's going to do it for us tonight. We do not have the GSL Code S matches tomorrow, but we will have the group selection, so if you want to watch that, definitely check that out. StarCraft 2 regular GSL matches will be resuming Friday.
So we'll see you there. For Wolf and myself, we love you guys. Good night.